Hello and welcome to MotorMotion E-Series. We return for the continuation of the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship Season 3, and it is time to continue our American leg. We head to the state of New York, for round 7 at Watkins Glen. An exciting race, and we are barreling towards the end of the season as well. Points are critical, results absolutely essential for many of the teams out there. We'll see what battles we have in store today. Of course, Player1 Sim Gear, our primary sponsor. Please go check them out on p1simgear.com.au. Check out MotorMotion E-Series on www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. And the broadcasting, of course, brought to you today by Trackspot TV. Go and check us out on www.trackspot.tv. Leading the commentary today, myself, George Kirk. I'll be joined by Andrew Scott, who we'll hear from him in a moment's time. Let's have a little look at our calendar. Because we only have 4 races left in the season, starting today, of course, with Watkins Glen for a 50-minute race. Then it'll be the final part of our American leg, Daytona, for another 50-minute race in a week's time. Round 9 will be held at Autopolis International Racing Circuit, where I tell you, those Supras may come alive once again. We shall see. And, of course, the season finale over at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. What a way to end the season. Let's take a little look at the race information for today at Watkins Glen. It is a 50-minute race, and it's going to be in the evening. Cloudy weather predicted at the moment for the circuit, so it might be a little bit grey out there. Could play into how the tyre temperature will be out on track. All racing tyres are permitted, but today the racing soft tyres are mandatory for the race, which should shake things up in terms of the strategy decisions for the drivers and the engineers. Tuning prohibited, of course, with the brake bias allowed. Here's the weather forecast. You can see it is cold, it is windy, and it is cloudy. So a C04 preset today, variable time ×1, and evening is it. So the weather forecast, cloudy and chilly in New York today. So if you get to see the sights, you're seeing Watkins Glen at the site, it's going to need to bring a jumper or two, that's for sure. Let's hear from Andrew Scott. Welcome to the commentary box, mate. It is round 7. It's a tricky course. It's a beautiful course. We love it here. But how are these GT3 cars going to perform at a circuit like this?
Yeah, g'day George, g'day viewers, pleasure to be here, and yeah, unfortunately apologies from myself. I was a last minute withdrawal for this race due to an unplanned birthday celebration. Let's leave it at that. We won't talk about that any further, but yeah, very disappointed to have missed this race, because I tell you what, George, this is a tyre whisperer's dream, this track. It really benefits the drivers that can look after their tyres, and it's not so much just making it to that one-stop window, it's also managing the drop-off of the tyres. So we've got sections like the classic back straight, the inner loop, that infamous bus stop. Then you've got that outer loop, that really long right-hander that drops you down to the boot section. Your tyres are screaming for mercy there, they really are. So those guys that drive a little bit too hard through that section are really going to have trouble later on in their stints in this race.
Yeah, going to be very, very difficult for them to manage that. But, 3.4 miles at 5.5 kilometers, the Grand Prix circuit with the inner loop. Of course, you get the boot the toe and the heel, so a very tricky traction zone through all of that, and then he looped back towards that fast first couple of sectors, and that bus stop chicane. Are we going to see some overtakes? Are we going to see some mistakes? We shall see. But in terms of the standings, just quickly before we jump into the action, you'll have both Group A and Group B coverage for this broadcast. In the elite category, Gautam Mahindra still leading from Guy Barbara, who is very close to jumping Nick Pfaff, who's currently sitting in second. Then we've got Campbell Knowles in there too. Andrew, you're a little bit further down the points, but still in a battle, technically speaking, for a fourth position run there. Nick Pautasso and Matt Donetti. Then over in the pro title, Matt McCullum on top at the moment and doing incredibly well. He has been super dominant in the pro title so far for CP Motorsports. Will he continue that run of good form? We shall see. Glenn Mead, Matthew Joyce, Nick Roberts all contending to get up there and take him off the top spot. A very small gap between Joe Rudinsky and Mark Hasel1. It all went up in flames in some ways for Joe in the previous race, but he's managed to keep on top in the Pro-Am title. He's going to be challenged, though, by Hasel1 and Marcel Albertin, who's on a run of good form recently. Don't count out Blake Williamson, though, for Hooncorp Esports. An early leader. He may find a way to charge back in the last 4 races. And then in the AM title, Jack Finch and Chip Berry locked in a massive battle between themselves. Mark Hogan a little bit further off the points, but just working to maintain his position from Troy Britnell and Graham Splint, both on a late charge with some good results recently, especially Troy Britnell. What a race he had in a couple of the last rounds. So great stuff from him. That is where your standings are in terms of the drivers for the teams. It is still Mad Turtle on top from Hooncorp, from Brack Rose, from Gridline. There is a small and ever gradually getting smaller gap between Mad Turtle and Hooncorp. So a lot of work that the teams need to do heading into the last 4 rounds of the season. Right, I'm hearing that we're ready to go trackside, so we will see you over there. Here we go. We will have the rolling start as always. You can see the cloudy, chilly conditions out there at the moment. Racing mediums for our race leader, and qualifying first, it is Guy Barbara from Gautam Mahindra, from Matt McCullum from Pfaff, and we are array and racing. You can see Guy Barbara worried about the tyre temperatures already, trying to warm those tyres. We're going to make him lose a little bit of time and position to the guys behind him. What an arrow nicely through turn 1. Keep an eye on the top group as well. Those 3 are separated by absolutely nothing, and this first straight will be absolutely essential. First bit of slipstream, you can get some interesting maneuvers, let's put it that way. First lap into the bus stop chicane. Guy Barbara likely going to be trying to defend that line there. He eventually moves over, realizing Gopi's right there. Gopi's going to try around the outside. Will they be brave enough to hold it there? No, he's not. He's going to back out. Look at Matt McCullum doing incredibly well at the moment. 3rd overall, qualified right at the top. Bit of a mistake there on the exit for Guy Barbara. He's opened up the inside line through the chute. To the chute we go. And Gopi's going to have the outside line into the chute. Not a comfortable place to be. It's not a great traction zone. He's on the racing medium tyres to start, so it's even Stevens in terms of the strategy at the beginning for our top 2. Now in towards the toe. Uphill we go. Matt McCullum defending from Nick Pfaff. Pfaff wants to get around, but look at the pace of Matt McCullum at the moment. He's doing incredibly well. Pfaff is on the soft tyre to begin, so he needs to make these overtakes matter early on and really be challenging Guy Barbara and Gopi. And Gopi has managed to find his way nearly to the inside line. Guy Barbara doing an incredible job trying to hold off the attack from Gopi at the beginning. Clearly way more comfortable on the medium tyres in this first lap. And Guy Barbara, though, we know how good he is. There's the rest of the field coming on through. A few battles and scrapes at the back of the field. Bruce the Shark and Dubzito going for it. But here's the race lead. Guy Barbara and Gautam Mahindra separated by nothing on track. And a great battle, a great scrap to begin this race.
Yeah, what a first lap what that was. Some very, very entertaining side-by-side driving, and Gopi's not happy to sit there in second, is he? He's getting racy. He wants the lead of this race. So very interesting to see that Gopi is really challenging Guy, and it's costing them a little bit of time, this battling, but he wants to get out there and lead from the front this race. He's got his back up. He's got a bit of confidence, doesn't he?
Certainly does. Very impressive pace from him right now. He'll have another chance on the slipstream here as we see Nick Pfaff grab the inside line. Matt McCullum not defending that for now. Up ahead, as you can see, they are going side by side. Gopi's going to hold it. There's 2 wide through the bus stop chicane. A little bit of a scraping of the paint there between the 2 drivers, and it is Gautam Mahindra making the maneuver into the bus stop chicane early on. He's going to stretch his legs now and start to build that gap. It's essential for him to do so because Guy Barbara is so quick. He might be in a fuel-saving mode, might be in a tire-saving mode at the moment, wanted to get in the way of Gopi's strategy, but as usual, Ando, Gopi is all foot to the floor.
Yeah, he loves that Nissan GTR. I think it might be slightly better suited to this track than the Supra, but he's definitely got maybe a little bit of a speed advantage, a pace advantage, and he wants to cash in on that. So he's got himself to the lead now. Let's see if he can gap himself. He already has created a little bit of a gap, and we've got Guy now watching his mirrors because he's got a soft runner behind him in Faf there in that lightning quick RCZ that's started on soft. So he's going to be hassling Guy now as well.
He certainly will be. Water Arrow, we're just having a look at him. He has made a real charge through the field. He's on the racing soft tyres, so has been able to do a lot of overtaking in this early part of the race. He, of course, is in the pro category, so he is challenging Matt McCullum for the win today, and looking strong to do that in the M6. His teammate, Ando, who's joined us in the commentary box and unfortunately not able to make the race today. Will it be another look down the inside towards Nick Pautasso? It's a little bit of a look, but nothing coming of it so far. He'll use the slipstream to his advantage on this main straight. That's where it's going to be most effective. We haven't seen what tyres Matt McCullum is on at the moment. I'm guessing they're mediums, given his pace relative to Nick Pfaff. Yes, medium tyres, so it's medium versus softs, and there you go, Water Arrow easily cruising by the medium tyres of Nick Pautasso and the Mad Turtle racing car. That is a close-up if I've ever seen one. Nice early maneuver from Water Arrow is going to launch him ahead and right into the path of Matt McCullum, but as we know, Ando, you might be fast at the start, but you're going to be on the slower tyre at the end.
Yeah, these soft tyres really do perform well around here while they're fresh, but I can tell you from experience in my testing that they drop off quite dramatically, and those softs, if you're not careful, you'll be doing mid-148s by the end of your stint, and so the mediums are going to cross over with the softs quite soon, within a lap or two, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can see the pace that Gopi Mahendra just set down. Fastest lap of 1:45. Medium tyres looking like they're in the 46s at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that. There's Scott Taylor, the Gridline Racing, on the medium tyre, challenging Nick Pautasso. Pro category, of course, for Scott Taylor. So he's got a little bit of work to do to catch up to where Water Arrow is. But if there's an overtake soon, that'll put Matt McCullum within shooting distance, potentially within strategy execution distance for Scott Taylor. So these Nissans might be the go today, but honestly, no one's looking particularly bad at that so far. We haven't had a major incident that I can see. We do have one car trailing right at the back of the grid. Not 100% sure who that is today, but we will keep an eye. The key thing, of course, for the Mad Turtle guys is getting a good result today. So Nick Pautasso's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders right now, as does Glenn Mead in the challenging for both the Pro title and the Elite title, but overall the Team's title, more important, I think, for them, given that they're leading it at the moment. So keep an eye. Here's Nick Pfaff, and this is the charge we've been waiting to see. Does he have the pace to keep up with Guy Barbara? It was a 46 that last lap. Let's have a look at Guy Barbara's times if we can and see what he's doing on the mediums. I suspect that he's probably on the 36s as well. Here's the change in lead for the Pro title. Nope, not yet. That is Nicholson still trying to make his way past Matt McCullum, but the medium tyres are looking still quite good, and I wonder, and as he alluded to earlier, if the crossover for the softs and the mediums has already maybe begun.
Yeah, I think it's going to shortly, but he's still showing pace, Riley Nicholson. He's in good form this round. He's taking it to Matt McCullum at least, and he's throwing down the challenge. So he'll get past him if he can, and that'll give him a good chance of beating him in this race. But we've also got to watch out for the undercuts that are going to start to happen as well. So lots of cars still bunched up here. It's not that easy to overtake at this track. So I dare say there'll be some strategy decisions to make and some undercuts happening on about lap 8 or 9, I think.
Whoa, big mistake for Guy Barbara. Launches it onto past the curbs, in fact, there, but the master himself is able to recollect the car really nicely. By the way, just noting a new livery design there for Guy Barbara. He's got the right-hand side of the car is green. I'm not 100% sure what that's actually signifying this time out, but it may be something to do with GT World Series, which he was in recently. Remind me, Ando, where that was? Was it LA?
That was in LA, actually, and yeah, and Guy did quite well in one of the races. I think he got a P6, so got into the points there in the series. and got off the mark there with his scoring. So quite an elite level of racing, that, isn't it, George? We're lucky here at MotorMotion to have drivers of this caliber taking part.
Absolutely. Here's the potential overtaker. They're going to be side by side. No, Nicholson decides to back out of it. That's the sensible thing. He's already put Matt McCullum slightly offline there, forcing him to use probably more of the medium that he wants, but this racing soft is just under deteriorate. We did get a glimpse as well. Guy Barber is doing mid 45s or mid to high 45s at the moment. And it was another 45. There was a response by Nick Pfaff. He has done a much faster lap this time. It was a 46, sorry, I think it was. Well, we'll double check that anyway, but it was a response lap from Nick Pfaff. So he is putting the pace down and trying to keep up with Guy Barber. There it is there. 45.7 was the lap that I saw, but that last one, a 46.1, maybe just a bit of tire conservation, but he made that mistake. So I think that's probably where a lot of that's come from. Nick Pfaff, of course, and the 45s now. So that's the pace he's going to need to perform at if he's going to hold on to Guy Barber. But he's going to be needing to do 45.2s like Gopi to really catch up and overtake. You can see the gap between them is sort of equaling out at the moment. Gopi's running away with things, and impressively, Matt McCullum is still holding on to P4 overall in this race from a soft tire runner behind him.
Yeah, and Pfaff there, as we watch him come through over the finish line, he's doing okay on his softs. He's looking after them quite nicely. It's important to note here, folks, that those soft tyres are mandatory today. So although they're probably not the preferred race tyre, you're going to have to run them at some stage. As we see here, the drop-off in times. As Water Arrow, he's got a run on him here, though. So he's got very worn softs, but for some reason, they're still working for him. He runs down the back straight here. Is he going to make a move into the bus stop? Let's see. He can't quite draw alongside. I don't think he's got the tyres left to make the move. No, not quite. But yeah, George, very interesting. He did, yeah. He just doesn't have the confidence in those front tyres anymore to make a dive. A risky move there to go for a move in that bus stop. But we see there McCullum, Pfaff, sorry, his front left is starting to look worse for wear. Gopi's medium's looking absolutely gorgeous. He's got a really good gap, driving really well here, but he will have to switch to the softs at some point. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes for the one or the two stop strategy. That is yet to be seen if anyone tries the one stop or not today.
Yeah, I imagine the two stop would be pretty much required. I mean, your mediums aren't going to last till we're seeing the softs deteriorate now. I suppose you could probably, that's a close one. Oh, Guy Barber does it as well. They're both pushing hard, these two, right on the bleeding edge of grip, both of them. Very impressive. Arguably, the medium tire is looking a lot better for Guy Barber. He may be trying that one stop. It is entirely possible. Last time I raced here, I raced against Nick Pfaff, and I managed to beat him with the one-stop strategy. He went for a two-stop. I went for a one-stop, and admittedly, I was suffering for the last 30 minutes of the race, but I was able to beat him. So maybe the one stop here is going to be viable. It is possible. You're going to have to run very long, save a lot of fuel. Into the pits comes Spark, I think it was, and we're on board now with Glenn Mead fighting against Luke Stone.
That was Airborne pulling into the pits there on lap 7, so his softs absolutely expired, and he's definitely committing to a two-stop strategy this race because we are nowhere near the halfway mark. And the problem is, George, is that the mediums are going to last quite a few laps, but they're going to outlast a tank of fuel around here. So to pull off the one stop, you not only have to take care of your tyres, and you've got to really look after your fuel range. And getting a fuel tank to half race distance is a challenge just in and of itself. So yeah, it's a real dilemma because the pit stop here is fairly lengthy. So, having to do that two-stop strategy means that you're going to have to be doing lightning fast lap times for the whole race to beat those one-stoppers.
Yeah, there you go. That's the tricky thing with this. And yeah, how do you do fast laps but also maintain your fuel? Well, some very clever, skillful lifting and coasting is going to be required. It is possible at this track. There's a lot of downhill sections where you can save that little bit of fuel, but you're not going to be able to do much on the straights. You really do need to take advantage of that because you can lose a lot of time, long straight, all the way really from arguably the main straight through turn 1, which is ironically called turn 1, and then all the way up the hill and towards bus stop chicane, and only then do you sort of end up on the downhill run. But You got to worry about the traction zones up the hill through the toe. You got to use fuel there. So there's not a lot of places to save fuel, really. If you want to save fuel, duck into a slipstream. That's going to be a real key here. Might be what Glenn Mead's thinking. His fuel at the moment is looking good, but as you can see, the tires not in the same condition. We'll keep an eye on that. Luke Stone ahead of him. I think he may be on the racing softs as well. We will get a check on that at some point soon. Gridline Racing Scotty up ahead of them in P7. Other than that, no massive change around the grid at the moment as everyone just sort of gets into the rhythm and starts executing their strategy. So it's mediums for Scotty. What's Luke Stone on? Let's have a little look at Luke Stone, see what he's on. So he's on the racing medium tyre here, but about the same fuel. So they're on the same fuel strategy at the moment, Ando.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if either of those drivers are going for the one-stop or not. It really will depend as if they've saved enough fuel and tyres, but Brucey there, he's got tyre troubles, so he's going to struggle to get to half race distance on those softs. But one option is to pit a little bit early and then go long on the mediums, but that's when you really are struggling with your fuel mileage in that second stint. If you do have to do any more than half race distance on a tank, it really does slow you down, because the only option to save fuel around here, George, is the short shift and maybe fuel map it, and you lose so much time down the main straight. As we see, Bruce is making a move here. He's still got some soft tyre left. He's going to have a go at him here into turn 9, round the outside.
That is Nick.
Oh, that's Nick Patasso, sorry, on Riley Nicholson on Water Arrow. Yeah, so Nick's coming back at him here on the mediums. So Water Arrow's softs are really showing some wear now. He's slowing down, and Nick's really wanting to push past him now, because Nick's strategy relies on some clean running right now.
Certainly does. And of course, Scott Taylor, that'll be a pro position category as well. Scott Taylor versus Water Arrow. Scott's on the medium tire. So both of these guys will be hoping to make a pass on him, probably at the straight here, because there's just no grip now for Water Arrow. You can see the distance that he's dropped off behind Matt McCullum, who's on the medium tire and executing his strategy well at the moment. Matt McCullum is miles down the road. So well, I don't think there's been a mistake from Water Arrow at this stage. Let's have a look and see exactly what Nick Pautasso's plan is. He's got the overspeed. He'll have the inside line. Is it enough overlap to challenge for a move? Yes, it is. And that's a beautiful maneuver by the Mercedes driver. Does he get a clean exit? He does. Nicely done. And he's got the clean air that he needs.
Yeah, that crucial move that by Nick, and a sexy one at that. So he's now cleared Water Arrow, and he can start heading off now into the distance. I noticed that last lap he did was a 47.9. That is not good when you're on fresh medium still. Water Arrow here leaking oil. I think he might be pitting this lap. Let's see. But now Scotty's coming up upon him, and he's going to have to clear him as well if Water Arrow doesn't pit.
That's right. So, oh, he pulls over. Is that a penalty served there? Yes, it is. So Nicholson, it's all gone wrong. The soft tires have degenerated massively. Oh, look at his left front. It's absolutely gone. So he's used way too much of the tire. He's actually picked up a penalty as well, likely cutting one of the corners somewhere in the last sector or two. So it's gone, unfortunately, quite the wrong direction for Water Arrow at the moment. Next up is going to be Luke Stone, who's just come around the corner behind him. So right now, Nicholson needs to pit. He needs to be on a better set of tires right now, or he's going to find himself dropping back even more positions. Faf on the soft comes into the pits. Will there be a pit stop for Nicholson as well? It surely will be. Yes, there is. And this is the thing. They're basically at this point committed to a two-stop because all their fuel is going to be, they're going to be fuel map 6 or something for the rest of the race. I mean, we're only 16 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that the soft tyre, they can do 2 stints on the softs if they wish. And yeah, pretty much so this is a two-stop race for them now, and they can get back down into the 46s in lap time, maybe even a high 45 or 2, and make some headway to gain back that time they've lost, because that tyre drop-off was terrible. Those lap times were Riley's were doing. He was doing mid 48s there at the end, and plus with the penalty and whatnot. So Bruce has now come out onto another set of softs. So he's definitely going soft, I'd say, doing a two-stop but running softs the whole race. So let's see how that pans out for him.
Yeah, I think that could absolutely work. I mean, the dilemma now, if you have started on the medium tyre, and you need to switch to the soft, but you're trying to do a one-stop, well, your softs aren't going to make it any further than these guys, and it's only lasted about 15 minutes or 16 minutes or so. So even if you can run the mediums to, well, if you can run the medium to 35 minutes through this race for another 16 minutes, you might be able to make it work. But again, how much time are you starting to lose there? And then, of course, you have to suffer on very, very worn softs. So as long as the drivers have done their math and figured out how long they can take the soft before they start really bleeding lap times, that is going to be the key thing for them. And only a few drivers so far have really shown us that they've got the capability to run deep with decent pace on worn soft tires. Looking through the field, Gopi still leading from Guy Barbara, still with Matt McCullum leading pro category and third overall now, with Nick Bautasso and Scott Taylor chasing him down at the minute. They have closed that gap up, not by a massive amount, but certainly starting to close in. So their lap times are good at the moment, and Scott Taylor's quite happy, probably where he is at the moment, and he's saving a good amount of fuel as well, being with Nick Bautasso. So these two are working together really, really well, and basically Scott Taylor is using the elite category drivers to elevate himself up. Smart tactics, I think.
Yeah, Scott will be chomping at the bit here. He'll be very chuffed or pleased with himself that he's keeping up with Nick, even closing that gap a little. And his pace is good this race, and we'll see what strategy he chooses though. And because the obvious strategy I would have thought, George, would be 3 soft stints, so a 2-stop strategy running softs the whole race. But none of the top drivers are doing that. They've all started, the top 3 I think it was, all started on mediums. So there could be a couple of one-stops attempted here amongst those elite level drivers. But Scotty's definitely in there. He's in the mix this week with the likes of McCallum for an opportunity to beat maybe a couple of elite drivers and get some bonus points.
Absolutely, and that's a part of what has elevated Matt McCullum right up to the top of the pro title and put him in contention for the win there. He has been consistently finishing above the elite category drivers. Not all of them, obviously, but at least 2 or 3 per round so far. So he's absolutely on his game right now, is Matt McCullum. This is obviously helping CP Motorsport stay up there in contention for some sort of decent finish in the team's title as well. Here we go. Some pit stops are being executed now. And interestingly, Spark on the medium tire is pitting with about 34 litres of fuel on board. Same with Luke Stone. So the medium runners are pitting at the 20-minute mark. Does kind of suggest they're looking at a 2-stop as well.
Yeah, possibly. I think so. But I really think Luke Stone, I think it was Stone or Spark or both of them, had a bit more tyre left to use there. So very interesting that they've chosen to pit now. They might be just looking at 2 soft stints to finish off the race, and they're right there in their window for that to occur. So enough time spent on mediums. Now they'll get to run softs for the rest of this race.
So one thing that's not working out is Nick Pfaff right now. He started on the soft tyre. He's gone to another soft tyre, but encountered traffic. He's got Chris Varda-Papa behind him and Glenn Mead ahead of him. I think Glenn came out on the soft tyre. We might be able to quickly check that. But yes, at the moment, he did. Okay, great. So soft runner versus soft runner, but it means that Pfaff, he is going to be running basically with the dirty air of Bruce ahead of him for probably some time. Glenn Mead's got some great pace in that Mercedes, and so there's a lot of work now, I think, for Nick Pfaff. I don't know if this 2-stopper has started working out for him at the minute, because you've ended up having to pit early, right?
It might be looking okay because he hasn't pitted as early as Bruce did. So his tyres are going to be more fresh than Bruce, and he might be able to clear him and then head off into the distance. But he's also got more fuel than Bruce at the moment as well. So this net position, I think he's still ahead of Bruce just in this race. So if he can clear him and not get held up by him, as we see, Guy Barbara is the first one to pull the pin here amongst the leaders, and he's in for his pit stop. But yeah, Nick Pfaff could still get a result out of this race because he is on very fresh softs and he's got more fuel than Bruce.
Let's see the amount of fuel that is taken between Matt McCullum and Guy Barbara. Guy has only gone with 52 litres. Matt McCullum has taken 61 total. So it's interesting. They're on very, very similar strategies right now. Guy Barbara comes out on the soft tyre. Let's see shortly what Matt McCullum's going to be doing. This does seem like the opportunity. Get out there on the softs, get rid of them, and then go for your second stop. So maybe the 2-stop strategy today, Ando, is medium, soft, soft.
Yeah, that might be what these top-level guys are aiming for today because, yeah, even doing 3 soft stints You're just battling very, very worn tyres at the end of each stint. So running a bit longer on the mediums at the start, like these guys have, now means they can really just do quali lap pace until the end of this race. But they are in traffic. They are going to have to make some overtakes in order to make that strategy work.
Oh, this is awkward right now for Matt McCullum. He's come out with 2 cars ahead of him, both Airborne and Chris Faripapa, from what I can tell, and he's got Riley Nicholson right behind him. But of course, Riley did pit much earlier from those soft tires, and they are up to temperature, but starting to wear. And this is going to be awkward. Matt McCullum needs to get past Airborne as soon as possible to put a car between him and Nicholson. Is he going to try around the outside? Oh, difficult moments here for Matt McCullum. He's got to make the right decisions. Oh, Nicholson nearly goes into the back of him. Had a lot of pace up through the toe. Now it's going to be inside line for Matt McCullum. Will Airborne give him the space? The problem is he's being boxed in by Chris Faripapa, who's holding the inside line. Oh, a little bit of a bump there between Matt McCullum and Airborne. I think Matt McCullum may have it. Let's keep an eye here. Yeah, he has. Now he's going to go ahead and challenge Chris Faripapa. But Nicholson has taken the advantage of seeing that Porsche get slightly knocked off his perch for a moment. Tries to hang around the outside into the last sector, but not able to do it. And he's done it again. He's got so much pace compared to these other guys. The tires on the mediums are just so slow relative to these guys. And look at that, Matt McCullum has gotten past Chris Faripapa as well. Airborne taking advantage of a bad run by Chris Faripapa through the final quarter. And now Water Arrow will probably be looking to take advantage of that as well. No, he's going to stay in there. Oh, contact between the two. Slow run for Airborne. We just caught that with the rear view camera. And Airborne didn't get a great run through turn 1. And whether there was contact behind from Riley Nicholson just pushing Chris Faripapa's car ahead into the back of Airborne, it's entirely possible that did happen. But either way, that has put Chris Faripapa off the pace, and he's now way back fighting with Jointson now. So the question is going to be, how quickly can Water Arrow get past the Black Rose Racing Porsche ahead of him and catch up to a freshly soft-tired Matt McCullum, who has already gapped these guys by about a second and a bit.
Yeah, he was flying there. A very, very entertaining cork in the bottle moment again there, wasn't it? Where we had Faripapa there, the slower car, and he was in the lead, and there was no blue flags waving, so it was all for track position, all totally legitimate, and I think mostly it was kept clean. I don't think there'll be any trips to the principal's office out of that one, but it was touch and go, wasn't it? Very exciting viewing as we see Guy Barbara now just attempting the undercut on Mahindra. He's setting purple sectors here. He's on fire in that Supra now on softs as Gopi now pulls out, and let's see if he jumps onto the softs as well. But the gap here will be very interesting between Guy and Gopi. Who's going to come out in front?
Oh,
looks like it's Guy.
It might well be Guy. In fact, yes, it is. What an undercut, and what a lap by Guy Barbara. He put in a 44.5. That's nearly 6/10 faster than Gopi's fastest lap that he did at the beginning of this race on the medium tire. But of course, Guy Barbara has pitted earlier. He will have more wear on the tires, and Gopi will get up to speed. But that's quite a distance. It's a few seconds there. Guy Barbara, what an absolutely brilliant maneuver.
Yeah, that is the difference there, folks, between fresh tyres and worn tyres, and also the difference between softs and mediums. So Guy he's played his cards. He's out there in front now, but we've all seen what a Supra on worn tyres is like to drive, haven't we? We remember what happened back in Spa. So I hope Guy's worked out his tyre life perfectly here, because otherwise he'll be a sitting duck to Gopi at the end of the race like he was at Spa.
Exactly right. Yeah, this is all going to come down to how much you have looked into your tire life and how long these tires can go. The racing softs critical today. They are the mandatory tire for round 7 here at a very chilly and very cloudy Watkins Glen. So getting the tires up to temp correctly does take a little bit of extra time today. That is what we have been discovering. Nick Pfaff in 3rd position. We're just looking at him, and he's got Glenn Mead behind him now. So Nick Pfaff has been able to pass Glenn Mead. Glenn Mead currently provisionally leading the pro category right now. Pfaff is a couple of corners behind Gopi Mahindra at the moment, but on a very different strategy execution at the minute. So he is probably unlikely to be catching up to these guys because they're on fresh tires right now, whereas Faf is on those used tires currently. There's the battle continuation for the rest of, well, what is going to be the P1 battle for Pro category. Matt McCullum still driving away from Riley Nicholson, who's going to be starting to struggle on the tires at some point soon. Airborne, does he come in this lap? No, staying out there on the mediums. This, I think, is our one-stop attempt right here with Airborne. He's already at 30 minutes through this race. Another few minutes, well, give him to 35 minutes through this race. He refuels, gets on the softs, good to go.
Yeah, possibly, but the two cars in front of him have also just got the one stop to do again this race. So he's back on par with them, basically. So that position you see on track is net position, I think. And yeah, he's put himself in a good spot, Airborne. He's still there with them, within shouting distance of them, and he will be able to swap onto the softs, I think, to finish off the race. Or he'll have to, won't he, because they're mandatory. As we see a move here into the bus stop again. 2x2 again through the bus stop. That's hairy stuff. Luke Stone's in trouble here. Scotty's got a run on him. He gets his elbows out. Exciting stuff, this, George. Scott Taylor on fresh mediums there. He's getting feisty.
Certainly is, and that was a good maneuver. I mean, Scotty got past Matthew Joinson into the bus stop chicane. Now it's going to be awkward up into the toe. What is Farapapa going to do? He's going to hold the inside line. That's the smart thing to do. Forces Luke Stone to go to the outside, but clearly massive amounts more traction for Luke Stone. He's going to be side by side immediately out of the corner and probably have a good overlap into the next one. Yeah, he does. So Chris Farapapa losing that position, unfortunately. Great onboard shots with Scott Taylor at the moment. He's running on his fresher mediums. Noting that Nick Pautasso, who is running behind, is actually way behind, and that's going to be a big lunge, a big send there. He's hit part of the apex. He's hit the outer wall on the gravel. Chris Farapapa will be challenging back. And yes, Scott Taylor, it was a bit sendy. It was a bit overconfident. He certainly's got the grip to do it, but couldn't get the car slowed down. Now into the final corner. He's going to have the inside line. Farapapa's going to have to give him a little bit of space, as does Scott Taylor, having to give some space to Farapapa on the exit. Does so. There's the maneuver. And here's Joinson. The three-way battle continues.
And Joinson joins the party here, and Farapapa, yeah, another cork in the bottle moment, but he's holding these guys up. They need to get past him, but he is defending like crazy. He's making a real race of it, isn't he? But exciting stuff here as we see four cars all together on track again. We've seen some action this race, haven't we, George? This is really riveting stuff.
Watkins Glen, it always brings the action. Pautasso has actually used this battle to his advantage. He's going to be making the maneuver, maybe. No, just a little bit of a look into the bus stop chicane for Nick as he tries to get past Scott Taylor again. So must have gone for a longer pit stop. He's sliced through this backfield very, very quickly, taking advantage of the fact that everyone was side by side. He just tucked his car up on the inside, had the grip, had the power, put it down, and he got past super, super easy. So nice and clean there from Nick. And now, of course, let's see if Scott Taylor will be challenging to hold on to this position, or if he's happy for Nick just to do it. Oh, Nick completely misses the braking zone, nearly takes out Scott Taylor ahead. But luckily for them, they're able to continue both racing at the moment. There we go. This is the shots we're looking to see, and we've got the inside line now from Nick. Can he make the maneuver this time out? He's on the racing softs now. Against, I think it's mediums again for Scotty. We'll check that. We'll double check it. Is it surely it's soft at this stage for Scotty? No, it is the mediums tire. I was absolutely right. So this is why he's not necessarily got the full pace of that Nissan behind him at the moment. Patasso's got to clear him quickly. He does not want to be holding himself up on the racing soft tires right now. This is where you gain the time on your competitors.
Yeah, Scotty driving really well here to keep in front of an elite level driver who's on fresh softs. And on those mediums, he's doing well, but I believe he hasn't run the softs yet, so Scotty does have to stop again this race. But as will Nick, quite possibly. But yeah, Nick's strategy is being somewhat compromised here by the fact that he's stuck behind a medium runner. But he's done well there. That was an interesting sequence there where he took care of a couple of them, but he's still just got Scotty bothering him, who was bothering him earlier in the race as well, I think. So they've been together for a lot of this race, swapping a bit of paint, but all good, fair and clean, hard racing. And we see Gopi now coming through. What's that? Not the last corner, but the first corner there, is it?
No, it's just at the end of Sector 2. That is turn 9, turn 10. It's just coming up to turn 10 now.
But he's done a 43.9, would you believe? So Gopi
Yeah.
on absolute fire. He's flying here. He's gaining now on Guy. You can see he's right there, a lot closer to him now, and that's to be expected because his tyres are going to be a lot fresher, having pitted after Guy. So Guy making the undercut work initially there, but now he's going to be paying the price. With Gopi, looks like in slipstream range right now, and he's going to be looking to put pressure on him in the next couple of laps.
Just get a gentle breeze of slipstream given the distance at the moment, but it's the traction that's obviously giving him the real wind behind his car at the moment, excuse me. But that 43.9 is a massive response to the 44. Oh, and it's all gone wrong. It picked up a 1 second penalty. He's cut that inside curb in the bus stop chicane. Oh, that's so costly. He was absolutely on to be back in the lead of this race and to have the strategy execution over Guy Barbara. But that 1 second penalty is going to wipe out all of the work that he's done and now has to redo it on the tire life that he's got left in the softs. That is a disaster for Gopi.
Oh, yeah. He's like, look at the pace he's got there, but he's going to lose 2 seconds here, and he's going to drop well out of the slip again. He's going to have to start again. He's going to have to regroup, start all over again. What he doesn't know, he might suspect it, but what he doesn't know is how bad Guy's tyres are. But he might have memories of Spa fresh in his mind, and he might be thinking he can still do it here because Guy's softs are looking a little bit worse for wear. I'm not sure if Guy's going to be able to swap back onto softs here if he pits now, because those tyres have not lasted for him this stint. So he's going to stay out. He's going to try and do another lap or two on them. And let's see what lap time he's into the 45s now, though. I think that's a 45.9. So his tyre drop-off not looking good. And Gopi's still got a fair bit more life in his. And he's going to be coming back at Guy right now. And he definitely, I think, will be able to go at least another 2 laps and then jump onto another set of softs to finish off the race.
Yeah, we've got 16 minutes remaining in this race. So we know that pit stops now, and we see that with Nick Pfaff, pit stops now onto another racing soft tyre will give you the length of time you need to get to the end. But you can see the state of the racing softs that were on Nick Pfaff's car. They're absolutely worn out. So the extended medium stint has allowed them to sort of condense the soft stint into a shorter period of time where you can run faster for longer. I think that has been the ultimate strategy today. Start on those medium tires, block anyone else who's trying to get on through, and then switch onto a double stint on the racing softs and condense it. But Gopi has done a better job of condensing it. That one second penalty was a mistake, but as you're alluding to, Ando, I don't think it's going to cost him a potential race win at this stage. He's definitely got the pace, and Guy Barbara is bleeding time at the moment. He'll have to come in at the end of this lap. Seeing a number of pit stops come in right now. Chris Farapapa jumping onto the medium tires with 47 litres for the last 15 minutes of this race. Water Arrow jumping onto the soft tires, it looks like, for the end of this stint as well. Matt McCullum's still running out there, probably going to be doing his last pit stop in a couple of laps. But here's Guy Barbara, and yeah, the 45.9, 45.8, 45.1, whereas Gopi was, until that mistake, was in the 44s all the way through, as you can see there. So he has caught up again, not by a massive amount, and let's have a little look at the lap times. In comes Guy Barbara to the pits. He had to do that, 2 litres of fuel on board. So he's now got a 14-minute stint to do on these racing soft tyres. He will be quick, but can he manage the tyre life?
Yeah, and Gopi's got a little bit of a fuel advantage here. So I think Gopi might achieve a bit of an overcut here on Guy because of his slight fuel advantage. So he gained back most of that penalty he burnt and then some. And if he can have a good in-lap here, he might achieve an overcut back on Guy. He'll say, I'll see your undercut, Guy, and I'll raise you an overcut. Let's see what he can do.
And the pundits cheered. It's great to see these interesting strategies come together. There's Matt McCullum in the pits. He'll be taking 54 litres. Okay, a little bit more than I might have expected, but racing soft tyres, of course, for him for the end of this race, and he is on for a 3rd position finish and 1st in pro category. That'll be absolutely massive. Depends on where Pfaff comes out, though, who has done his final pit stop. He's on the racing softs. I think McCullum will be out of the pits just before him. He's through for turn 1 is Nick Pfaff. Where is Matt McCullum? No, he has come out just behind. So this is an opportunity. Nick Pfaff could pick up a podium here today very easily if he continues driving the way that he is at the moment. But Matt McCullum, with fresh tires right now for the last 13 minutes, will be very, very quick. And he has the opportunity to take third overall. As you can see here, Riley Nicholson, nowhere near his pro category championship rival in Matt McCullum. So there is probably a dwindling opportunity now, unfortunately, for Riley Nicholson. Probably not going to be making it up to that top spot in pro. Here is the pit stop now. Gopi Mahidajit, this is a key one. Will the overcut be successful?
He's got 8 litres of fuel there, so that's a 2 or 3 second advantage he's going to gain here in the pit stop over Guy. And Guy's coming through the final section of the track now. He's had a pretty clean out lap or two, and he'll be going for it too, because he'll know exactly what's on the cards here, and he doesn't want Gopi to come out in front of him here. He really doesn't. So yeah, he's going to be on the worn tyres, so he wants to make that super as wide as possible. If he can just get out here in front of Gopi and then defend like crazy for the last 7 or 8 laps. But it looks like Gopi's... Yes, that's what we've got. So Gopi is now behind him, and he's out of slip as well, quite crucially. He's lost a bit of time there to Guy, who's obviously had an incredible outlap on fresh softs. So Gopi now with the fresher tyres and fuel that's good. This is going to be a fight to the finish here as we see the net positions start to wash out here. I think Scotty's slightly out of position in third there. He's got to stop again. But we've got Pfaff and McCallum. They've pitted, so they'll be fighting for third place, I think. That'll be a fight to the finish for those guys. We'll have to keep an eye on them. But yeah, Gopi here, it'll be interesting to see what the gap is to Guy, and whether Twitchy can look after those softs till the end of the race or not.
I just saw something very interesting. So Luke Stone will have to pit again, no doubt there. But if we have a look back at Scott Taylor, he is running quite slow. He's in the 48th at the moment. 10 minutes to go, racing medium tires. He's done his soft stint already, from what I remember. Has he done his soft stint? Someone can remind me.
I don't think he has, and also I don't think he is.
No.
I don't think he's got the fuel. He's only got an 1/8 of a tank.
Okay, so in that
he
case,
does
he
have
will
to stop
be pitting.
again.
Yeah,
he will be. Yeah.
It looks a little bit better than Luke Stone's situation, who absolutely has to pit this lap. Spark in a similar situation in P5 at the moment. So again, they'll be filtering back out lower down in the field. There's Pfaff at the moment with Matt McCullum, right? Not right behind him, but yeah, getting pretty close. We'll keep an eye on the lap times there. Nick Pautasso is a corner and a bit behind. So there you go. That's where Nick's at the moment. He's got Glenn Mead behind him, who's going to the end of this race, interestingly. So he may have done a pit stop just recently to get onto the medium tire to go to the end. Either way, he's ahead at the moment of Riley Nicholson. So that's a key position there for Glenn Mead. He has, like the Turtles do, slowly moved up in position and executed a good strategy cleanly. And that has gained him some positions in this race. Started back in the field and has found himself second in the pro category right now, ahead of Riley Nicholson, who was looking all sorts of quick today. Dubzito right at the back of the field. Got Chris Varderpupper in 13th and Joynthan in 12th at the moment. Here's the pit stop from Luke Stone and Spark. 2 cars that we looked at most recently. Scott Taylor's probably got another couple of laps out there. Let's see where Luke Stone appears relative to Riley Nicholson. Well, soft tires versus a man running to the end. This could be another battle brewing right now, but it is soft for both of them. So keep an eye here. Spark will be wanting to take that position away, of course, as well from Luke Stone. That's the battle for third in category, or fourth in category, I should say. Third if you include Riley Nicholson. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and the interesting one to watch will be Scotty when he pits from third position. He'll probably drop back into the clutches of guess who? Our friend Nick Pautasso. So they might resume their battle now for the last few laps of this race. But we can see the gap there between the two leaders. It doesn't look that big, does it, George? It looks like Gopi is starting to make inroads again already, which is it's been the pattern for this race and the last couple of races, hasn't it? Gopi coming back at Guy on fresher tyres and just downright better pace there in that GTR. So this could be on, George. This could be another battle royale in the last couple of laps.
Oh, I absolutely love it. 44.4 that last lap for Guy Barbara. There's Scott Taylor coming into the pit, so we'll see where he filters out. But what's Gopi's last lap there? Would it be an out lap, wouldn't it? So we probably... Oh, no, it's a 43.8, new fastest lap. There you go. So he's absolutely flying. That's already 0.6 faster than Guy Barbara at this lap. If he can maintain this kind of pace, he is going to be right on the rear wing of Guy Barbara. Hopefully for him in the next few minutes or so he can make that overtake before the final lap of this race. Only 6.5 minutes to go. There's Scott Taylor filtering back out now. He's dropping positions. He's dropped it to... Ooh, where is he going to end up? Well, hopefully we can get an eye on that in a moment, but Airborne seems to be ahead of him. So I think he's actually lost a couple of positions here. He's behind both Airborne and Bruce the Shark. And they have only Matt McCullum ahead of him, if I'm not mistaken. So right now, Scott Taylor, with the racing softs at the end, will be challenging Campbell Knowles and Glenn Mead to get up into P2 in the pro category.
Yeah, he should be able to make easy work of them because he's got fresh softs and plenty of fuel. So let's see if he can get past them fairly soon and maybe challenge Nick Patasso there, who's up there in 5th. I think he's done his last pit stop. He's ready. He's right to go to the end of the race. But these two cars here that we see now are definitely a lot slower than Scotty behind them, who's diving in there to the toe of the boot and really making inroads. He's gobbling them up, isn't he?
Oh, it's just, you can see it. 0.2, 0.3 of a second a corner right now. I mean, he's fresh softs. They've come up to temperature very nicely. And Glenn Mead's going to be probably struggling a little bit here. He's on the mediums, so is Campbell Knowles. Slightly worn mediums as well. There was an attack briefly into the toe by Campbell Knowles on Glenn Mead, but I think he's probably going to be realizing soon that Scott Taylor is the real threat here. Oh, Scott Taylor dirtying the tires, going right off the other side of the track. Luckily does miss the barrier, gives Glenn Mead and Campbell Knowles a little bit of a chance here just to escape. A graphical glitch there. Campbell Knowles has his wipers on. It's not raining out on track, ladies and gentlemen, as far as we can tell, but through a couple of corners they seem to be turning on, so might have a little bit of a crossed wire here or there in the car today for Black Hose Racing. Scott Taylor not able to make the move into turn 1 this time out. We only have 6 minutes remaining, but it's a good run for Scott Taylor through the exit of turn 1, and he'll have an overlap on Campbell Knowles immediately.
Yeah, this is where the GTR can stretch its legs now over the Porsche. Scotty rings it out. Oh, he grabs 6th gear, interestingly. He's saving fuel, obviously, but it looks like he's got the run, he's got the move, he's got the position here. On fresh soft tyres, he should be easily able to dive in, and he does so. So now he's got to set his sights on Brucey in front of him, and how many positions can he gain between now and the end of the race? That's the question.
Yeah, could be a few at the very least. These are the important ones. So he's now put himself up into 3rd for pro category. If he gets ahead of Glenn Mead, that'll be 2nd for pro category, and still ahead of a few elite drivers as well. So looking very good for him at the moment. And Campbell Knowles and Glenn Mead will have to start worrying about the man in the BMW who's actually closing in on this battle right now. Riley Nicholson is closing in on this battle. You can see him just coming into frame there. So there is a chance as well for Riley Nicholson to potentially pick up a P3 in this race. He'll have to get ahead of both Glenn Mead and Airborne to do it, but it's entirely possible. Let's see. Certainly the low fuel amount put in by Scott Taylor has launched him way up the field in the pro category, so this has been a smart move from him. He's calculated the fuel to absolute perfection with only 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this race, but the consistency of Glenn Mead right now, we know he's able to put the car where it needs to be. Let's have a little look at our P1, P2 battle as the racing soft tyres for both of these drivers start to deteriorate massively. Last lap there, 44.8, a 45.2. So it looks like Gopi is still faster on track, but the time is dwindling away. We've only got a couple of laps or 3 laps left.
Yeah, they're both now managing worn tyres, so their best laps are behind them. But I think we can see a significant difference in the tyre wear there. So Gopi really in the box seat here, I think. He's now what looks to be like he's in the slipstream of Guy. So he's got a couple of laps at least to make his move. He's just got to size him up now and work out where that move is going to be. And he's going to know, I think, for sure that Supra ahead of him is now dying a death on the softs. And he's just going to have to be smart, make sure he looks after his tyres, time his move to perfection, and make it a clean one, but a decisive one. So let's see where he decides to do it. We'll try not to miss it this time, folks. We're guilty of that this series, aren't we? We're missing some of these, but there's so much action going on through the pack. It's hard to capture everything, isn't it, George?
Oh, absolutely is, especially when you have multiple categories. You've got the pro and the elite drivers in this, so we've got technically 2 championship fights happening at the same time, so it's critical for all of these drivers, really, at the end of the day, and so it's very difficult to capture all the racing action. Gopi Mehinajit is on a decent run at the moment. Guy's going to be trying to just deceive him into where he's going to be putting the car to avoid giving away that slipstream too much. A 45 flat for Gopi Mehinajit the last lap there. That's very... Oh, these guys take such a margin. They are millimeters, pixels away from those penalties through the bus stop chicane, but that's how they are so quick through this circuit. That's what you've got to be doing. You've got to be really brave through the bus stop chicane. If you're not going to be picking up the time, but it's getting so close now. A little bit of a run onto the gravel. Those right-hand tires for Guy Barber will be a little bit worse for wear, but doesn't matter through this corner. You're leaning on the left-hand tires through here. You see he's just making gains each corner at the moment, but look at that left front. It's looking very, very bad at the moment for Gopi Mehinajit. And all these right-hand turns, it just puts so much pressure on the lefts. That's where the real skill is. Can he be quick through these right-handers and maintain the left-hand tires? Now that is the tricky thing to do. Decent run here, it looks like, for Gopi into turn 9. And up the hill we go. Let's have a look. Actually, looks like, to be honest, Guy Barbara has actually got better tire life on that front. But the fuel is running so low right now.
Yeah, Gopi has spent most of his front left tire, hasn't he, in order to catch up to Guy here. But now Guy's got a fuel problem, I agree. If this goes to 29 or 30 laps, which I think it'll at least go to 29, Guy might be in trouble with his fuel here, as they're treacherously close to track limit penalties there, the both of them, weren't they? But that's the difference here between these guys and the rest. They drive with such precision, George. They really do use all the track on the corner exits out of every corner of this track, as he pulls away there to get out of the slip, or to make it hard for Gopi to stay in the slip. The GTR really making gains there through the bus stop. Wow, this is going to be exciting. Does Guy have enough fuel here to hold on?
I think he's already in trouble. I think he's already in trouble down that hill there.
He might have miscalculated here, but there's going to be some team battles as well today, isn't there, George? In particular, we've got Gridline and Mad Turtles with both their drivers in good positions here to bag some good points for their team. So these changes of position.
Guy Barbara,
there was a penalty.
There was a penalty. Guy Barbara, Gopi picked up a penalty again, and that's it. That's over, because we're about to take over to 50 minutes. This is the final lap of the race.
But is Guy out of fuel? Look at Guy's fuel. It's not over yet, George.
Oh my goodness.
Is he going to make it?
We've got a couple of corners to go. There's almost no fuel in the tank here. If he runs to 0 right now, he will start to deaccelerate, and Gopi will drive past him. Is there enough? It looks like he's okay. Is he accelerating? He is. I think he's safe. I think he's done it. He's got 0 across the line. Guy Barbara holds on. That's unbelievable. He's got 0 fuel at the end of this race. I think he did run out right at the end there. And if he didn't do that little bit of saving, if Gopi didn't get that penalty, he would have absolutely been right on Guy Barbara in that last second. 2 penalties have cost Gopi Mehinajit the win today. What was a very good strategy execution, but the consistency and the penalties cost him massively. Nick Pfaff holds on beautifully to pick up P3, and there's your pro category winner, Matt McCullum. Take a bow. He has finished well ahead of Gridline Racing Scotty in 6th. Potasso will be in 5th, and we'll take a look at our full race results in a few moments' time. But what an absolutely amazing battle to the end there. I just imagine what could have happened there between Guy and Gopi, but Guy will certainly be breathing a massive sigh of relief as we see the final few cars come across the checkered flag, some with penalties, some without. Let's go back to our chatting screen and look at the final race results. Poor, exciting end to the battle at Watkins Glen for Group A Elite, separated by absolutely nothing. Here's your Elite category results. And Guy Barber, of course, does win for Hooncorp Esports. Big pickup of points for them in their battle against Mad Turtle Racing. Then Gopi Mahindra in second. The penalties costing him the win today for Gridline Racing. Nick Pfaff, a very honourable third position for him. Good drive overall, as nothing, no massive mistakes from Nick. He executed the strategy well, made the overtakes when it needed to happen. Then he also got Nick Partasso in fourth for the elite category. Mad Total Racing picking up 24, so you can see the deficit there to the team they're fighting, Hooncorp Esports. It's an 11-point gap there between Guy Barber and Nick, but again, we know how quick the Mad Turtle guys are in the Group B. Camel Knowles picks up fifth, and then a DNS, of course, for yourself, Andrew, and Matt Donetti. Unfortunately, not able to make it for CP Motorsports, and that's certainly putting a bit of a damper on CP Motorsports challenge this time out. Let's take a quick look at Pro category, then we'll discuss our race and, of course, our drivers of the day. Matt McCullum, what a race from Matt McCullum. I mean, he's right up there. Finished fourth overall, so ahead of quite a number of the elite category drivers. That's why he's got 37 points. Scott Taylor picking up 31, does finish ahead of a couple of the elite category drivers. Second overall for him, one of his best results, actually, this season. Glenn Mead in third position picks up that podium very nicely for Mad Turtle Racing. Luke Stone critically for Glenn Mead behind him. So 2-point deficit there between Mad Turtle and Hooncorp. Nick Roberts in fifth position, followed by Riley Nicholson, whose strategy went, unfortunately, the wrong direction today. Matthew Jointson in seventh, and Chris Fadapapa picks up P8 with 16 points there to his name. Ando, let's talk about driver of the day first, and then or you can summarize the race for us as well at the same time.
Yeah, well, we're getting to the pointy end of the season here, aren't we now, George? And the teams championships, I'm really going to be interested to see how that washes out, because there were some winners and losers there when you talk about teams this round. We had your regulars, your Mad Turtles and your Gridlines, and the CP Motorsports, your Hooncorps, all picking up different levels of points there. So there could be some shake-ups in the table as we head into the last couple of rounds. So, you know, and my driver of the day is going to be the one with the most points today. I'm going to give it to Matt McCallum, because points are ever so crucial now for this team's championship, I think, for this run into season end at Bathurst. So Matt McCallum there with a sterling effort once again to beat some elite drivers and pick up 37 points for his team and the win in pro category. He's my driver of the day.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is for CP Motorsports, this is the chance for them to get out of last position in the team's title and get themselves up to sixth or even fifth position, battling against Hasel1, Lightning, and Aster to try and get further up in the team's title and not be team number 8 in the team's title this year. Yeah, I think, honestly, Matt McCullum executed a beautiful race today on a good strategy, executed it well, got in, got out at the right times, made overtakes when required, defended when required. I think overall, fantastic race, but I'm going to actually go the opposite direction and give it to Guy Barbara today for just holding on and getting a strategy execution that worked for him. Now, was it the fastest one out there today? I don't think so. I think Gopi had him, but those penalties do matter. For me, Guy Barbara executed a great race. He held on and a little bit lucky in some ways, so there's a luck factor involved in my driver of the day today, but getting across the line with 0, he did well, so that's going to be my driver of the day. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is. We'll put it together with our votes and see who gets it overall. That is going to be our Group A coverage for today. And yeah, keep an eye, of course, on the MotorMotion E-Series website, motormotioneseries.wordpress.com, for your standings in the GT3 Championship and all the results for each round. That is where you can go and view those results. At the moment, that is going to put Gopi Mahindra still in the lead on 253 points. Guy Barbara on 195. Nick Pfaff, good day for him. 192 points now overall in the elite category. And then the top 3 in pro, Matt McCullum extends his lead to 262 points for CP Motorsports. Glenn Mead is now on 236. So he was formerly leading the pro category, but this resurgence from Matt McCullum has been astonishing and very full of points as well. So there's been a little bit of a switch up there for pro title. Matthew Jointson is in third place for Aster Racing on 194, but Nick Roberts and Scott Taylor nipping at his heels now, only about 10 or 12 points behind him. So he has got to do some work in these last few rounds. Otherwise, he's going to be in all sorts of trouble. That is going to be our coverage here for Group A. We're going to go take a short 5-minute break, and we'll be back for Group B. So stay tuned, grab a cold drink, and we'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back to the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship. Our coverage continues now of Season 3, Round 7, with Group B, the Pro-Am and Am competition. It is tight as anything in the drivers' standings, and this obviously has big impacts on the team's title as well. 4 drivers from 4 categories, all committing points to that team's title run, and it was a great race at Watkins Glen there for Group A. We're going to be waiting to see what spiciness comes our way in Group B. We know it's going to be intense. We know it's going to be full of interesting and unusual strategies that'll undoubtedly stitch themselves back together towards the end of this 50-minute race. But given, Ando, what we've seen over there, I'm expecting a good race today. I'll be leading you through here. My name is George Cook, returning, as well as Andrew Scott, returning as co-commentator here with TrackSpot TV, bringing you the broadcasting today. Ando, give us your summary. What chaos is Group Best going to give us today?
Oh yeah, Group B, Group Best, love it, mate. G'day again, viewers, and yeah, this race got all the ingredients, doesn't it? We've got the track, we've got the strategy choice, we've got that pesky, annoyingly mandatory racing soft tyre that no one really wants to use because it just doesn't last. And there's going to be people fuel saving. There's going to be people on different, stages of their strategy coming together throughout this race. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some spicy battles yet again at Watkins Glen with Group B.
Indeed. New York, well, the state of New York in this case, let's be honest. But yeah, it's going to be good. The racing soft tyre is certainly throwing a cat amongst the pigeons. It looks like the medium to then 2 stops on soft seems to be the best strategy. It's what we saw Govind Mahidajit do. It's what we saw Guy Barbara do. It's what we saw Matt McCullum do as well. So there's big opportunities here for the Am class drivers to really throw themselves up into the mix in Pro-Am and bag themselves some serious points. We do have our qualifying results for this up. It is going to be calculated risk on pole position. Very good result there for him in Black Rose Racing. It'll be Mark Hasel1 for Hasel1 Motorsport on 2nd place. And then it's going to be one of our new drivers coming in today. Not completely on debut. He debuted last week, but it is Brian Emmett going to be jumping in there in 3rd position. Good qualifying from him. Right. I think we are ready to go down on track. It's going to be cloudy and cold out there once again. So we'll give us a moment and we'll see you out on track. All right, here we go. Beginning of the race, and calculated risk will lead us away for Black Rose Racing. Rare to see the Black Rose Racing up there, but it is great to see calculated risk with a good result in qualifying. He'll be leading us away for Pro-Am, of course. Remember that Dudar, P3, is leading the Am class. So away we go. Green lights are up, and it is going to be racing soft tyres for the top 3 in this race. Legendary Berry, Chip Berry, is going to be the man on the lead with the racing medium tyre, of course, in the Am class. So he'll be battling against Mad Turtle Racing today in this Mercedes, but this racing soft tyre is going to maybe give him a good way to launch himself ahead of those on track. We did see those who started on the softs have a little bit of a bad run, but who's getting a good run? Mark Hasseltine is getting a good run at the beginning of this race. A lot of people side by side, 3 wide in the background, but it is Calculated Rescue manages to keep ahead of the number 16 car through the bus stop chicane for the first time. We'll filter down the field and see who else is making some maneuvers there. Booster Blake holding on to P6 at the moment as Jeff Bruin comes under attack from Aussie GTR. And he is also under attack by Richard Robinson coming up quickly behind them. But they're a 4-way pack, these guys, at the moment. Down the hill through the chute we go for the first time. Jeff Bruin manages to hold on to that position. Robinson runs a little bit wide as Expat behind him. The Pro-Am category, Mad Turtle Racing driver, miles behind his teammate, started on the racing medium tyre. There's Hogan in P12. Jack Finch is in there as well. A penalty already for Ben Blake, who's having issues with traction in the M6 at the moment. I mean, they served that off the racing line. He's now dead last in this race, but it's a relatively clean opening lap. Everyone's separated by almost nothing. 2 battle packs evolving, and interestingly, Ando, the top 3 starting on the racing soft tyre. I wonder if they're thinking a soft strategy today.
Yeah, George, that's definitely an option for them, and I'll just let you know I'm flying blind here, mate. I can't see the stream yet. You might be able to do something about that.
We can indeed.
Yeah, those front runners there starting on softs is not what we saw in Lobby A. So absolutely, there could be some different strategies happening. and I might be getting visuals back. Yes, I have. We've got calculated risk there, off to a good start, but he's got Hasel1 breathing down his neck here. He's in the slip. He's going to be probably sitting there in position 1 there. He'll save some fuel and just happily sit there behind calculated risk for a while here. And the new guy, Dudar, is with them as well.
This guy has been really showing us some good skills here. He is in the AM class. It is, I believe, Brian Emmett, certainly, coming in for, excuse me, Mad Turtle Racing. He's been showing us some great pace, as we do see an attack here from Mark Hasel1. Had a really good run through the longer right-hander and out towards the downhill section of the chute. In behind them, Chip Berry still defending from Mitch Collin. Lightning Motorsport in a good position here. Racing medium tires as well for Mitch Collin, so he is maybe going to be trying that two-stopper with the medium first. Behind them, Boosted Blake. Both of these guys regular attendees of the podium. Jeff Bruin with a big penalty, and that battle four-way. Oh, as we see, a big spin by Blue Dog. Yep, he's spun it around. Too much traction. The toe. Very difficult uphill section. You put the foot down too early, and that is it. So Jeff Bruin serving a penalty for Gridline Racing, and now trying to make his way back through the field, and his teammate unfortunately spinning round. That's not great for Gridline Racing early on.
No, and Jeff Bruin, they're just getting gobbled up there by a couple of cars with that penalty, losing all his momentum, but still in a fairly compact battle group there. So he hasn't lost out to everyone, but that's definitely lost him some time. He's going to have to claw that back, as we see up towards the front now. The battle packs are ensuing, and we've got cars here on medium tyres starting to work together. Will someone try a one-stop? That is the big question. But that two-stop softs all the way. I'll tell you now, George, Hasel1 Motorsport, with access to the Mikuga supercomputers, did come out with that strategy as the one to try, but it is a little bit hard to execute. You've got to make those soft tyres last a little bit longer than you would like, as they sweep through that downhill long right-hander, which is the killer on your front left tyre if you're too heavy-handed, and they drop down now towards the boot section of the track. These medium runners now just settling into their rhythm, and which one of them, if any, will try the one-stop? That's going to be the exciting thing to watch.
Certainly will be, and we've had a change of leadership as well. Calculated Risk has lost the position to Mark Hasel1. So many battle packs on the grid at the moment, so it's easy to lose this action, but we did see that there is the overtake. It has been made. So now the racing soft tires for the Porsche. It's going to be an interesting one. I get the feeling, Ando, you might agree with me on this, but the BMW may be a little bit easier to manage those softs than the Porsche.
Yeah, it more so depends, I think, on your driving style and how hard you're pushing. So it'll be interesting to see how the tyre wear evolves over the next couple of laps for these two front runners. And you never know, Emmett there, who's dropped off a little bit, he might be the one to come back at them at the end of the stint, because he might be hanging back there looking after his tyre wear. So yeah, 3 different cars, 2 different drivetrains, all running softs and trying to get them to about that 9-lap mark, maybe even 10. If you're going to win this race, it might go to 28 laps, so you'll have to do at least one stint of 10 laps on the softs, as we see Colin there in the NSX picking up a penalty, annoyingly, probably out of turn 1 there. That's the usual spot where you'll pick one up here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it looks like he just got a little bit wide, and actually the car slipped on him, so the rear stepped out and he had to correct, and by that time you're already over the line. And if you put the power down to do any kind of correction, well, the game's going to penalize you for that and say, no, you're trying to gain advantage while off the track. That's not allowed. Boosted Blake making his way back up to Chip Berry. And we did see that the racing soft Louis is actually going to try and overtake down the inside line there, an attempted wide line for Chip Berry. It's not really the way that you should be working it, but it'll give you the inside line up to the toe, so it should be able to defend it, unless Boosted Blake wants to have a go around the outside, which he does, but loss of traction there for the Porsche. Still going to hold the inside line, but not enough speed on the exit, so that's another move by Boosted Blake. Finds himself now up in the 4th position, ahead of our 2nd place AM class runner in Chip Berry. So good stuff there, but Mitch Collin got a bunch of work to do. now to catch back up to these guys and get back in the slipstream. We have seen the softs run 16 minutes, Ando. That's the absolute limit. You put that 333 together and you just make it to 50 minutes, but you're on nothing. You're on popped tire territory.
That's right. So it's one thing to do that, one stint of 10 laps, but how slow are you going to be while you're doing it there as well? That is the question. So there might be some guys that decide to do medium soft, and they might have the advantage here today. They are very, very close, the strategies, but to get 9 or 10 laps out of a set of softs is a very hard task here. As we see calculated risk into the pits, has he got damage?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, we didn't see anything, but he has decided to come into the pits very, very early on lap 5, jump onto the racing medium tire. So he's taken himself out of second place all the way to 13th, and I'm guessing at this point he's preferring to be on the medium tire. Surely, if there was no damage to the car, then surely it must be a situation where, there's actually a penalty here for Hasel1. I wonder if there's something that's happened between these two at some point in this early part of the race, but probably not, given it's a 0.5. So it's hard to say, really, but that's a very early pit stop on lap 5 to get off the soft tire. He's thrown them out and says, I prefer to be on the mediums for the rest of the race.
Yeah, very, very early. Annoyingly there, Hasel1, who's still doing 46s, good lap times there, cops the penalty, and that brings Dudar back into the equation somewhat. But yeah, very early to pit in this race off those softs that still had some life in them, George, to be honest. But he might be planning 2 medium stints now in that Porsche.
I just don't. Yeah, it's difficult to calculate in our heads based on what we've seen in Group A why you would be doing that. And maybe it's just confidence in the tires. Maybe it's just one of those things where once you get past the sort of 75 or 60% degradation, you're just losing so much time. And you sort of think, well, why bother? Just get on the medium tires. They'll be good all the way through. Then it's just a fuel game to the end, essentially, to try and extend. But I don't know how well that's going to work out. We'll see. He qualified on pole position, did calculate a risk, so he's clearly got the pace around here, and that would have been qualification on the soft tire, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way he could have gotten pole on the mediums, but he's now going to have to worry about his medium tires getting worn, because he's going to have to do 2 fairly lengthy stints on mediums. He can't run softs again now. That's out of the question for him. So he's really, really got us scratching our heads here in the commentary booth, doesn't he?
Certainly does. We are showering our dandruff all over the commentary box floor because of how much we're scratching our heads, but we'll see if it works out. This is the nature of Group B.
You've got to have hair, mate, for that.
Oh, very true. Okay, well, I'm showering a bunch of dandruff on the floor at the moment.
Jealous.
Yeah, I'll donate you some. I'll pick some off the ground. We'll just
thanks. I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm fine, yeah.
Now you can dust it off. There you go. Yeah, that's looking good. We're on board with Joe Rudinsky, who has consistently qualified on pole position, but at Watkins Glen, not finding the pace at all, and finds himself way out of position. He is the Pro-Am Championship leader. We're just watching him with Jeff Bruin and Ruzzy ahead. A 3-way battle starting to brew between these guys. And a medium tire is the tire that has been chosen as the starting tire for Expat. I believe that's the same for Jeff Bruin and for Ruzzy as well. But just looking at the way that he's navigating the car, there's a lot of steering input here. I wonder if he's leaning on these tires too much. Wow, that was a close one. Jeff decides to defend the inside line. And these guys going hammer and tong, and Jeff just unfortunately not able to hold it on the inside line. That's not really the best way to defend into that final couple of corners, but Joe Rudinsky actually runs into the back of him as well.
Yeah, that was a bit of a clumsy moment there, wasn't it? I think they both chose to go left at just the wrong time, basically simultaneously. That was a case of, after you, sir. Oh, no, after you, sir. And they just came together, and they both lost time there, unfortunately. But Expat will be one to watch here as the race progresses, because he's still got a nice, fast stint on softs ahead of him. And as long as he doesn't have too many more moments like that, he might be coming back at them at the end of this race to challenge for a podium.
Indeed. So behind this pack of cars, we do have Drew Rudinsky closing up now to CP Motorsport. So it is Hogan there on the racing mediums, followed by Ben Blake, who's on the racing softs, which are already looking absolutely gone. Not even 12 minutes into this race. So he's using a lot of tires at the moment on the Hasel1 Motorsports car. And so, yeah, he's in 11th at the moment because we had the spin from Blue Dog. Calculated Risk has pitted, and it looks like we may have had an issue with Jack Finch. And no, Jack Finch has definitely pitted, and so has Richard Robinson. So fascinating. 3 cars already before the mark that we're looking for, which is 15 or 16 minutes, have already pitted in this race, and Robinson has gone on to the soft tires. It must have been on a medium tire early on. I mean, it's bizarre. It's fascinating. We don't know what's going on. We'll find out at the end of the race.
Yeah, well, there could be some people there on 3 stops, George, maybe, as Blaker pulls into the pits, because I just heard over the team radio there, Hasel1 Motorsport were saying Plan B, Ben, Plan B, because his 2 stops offs all the way wasn't going to work with that sort of tyre wear. But yeah, we could be seeing some people trying 3-stop strategies here. But yeah, very, very interesting to see people pitting so early in the race.
I think this maybe leads into, I mean, Group B, obviously, I don't like to use the word slower drivers, but they're not the aliens that we're seeing in Group A, of course. So there's a wide range of skills here at MotorMotion E-Series. Group B in the GT3 Championship, sponsored by Player1 Sim Gear, represents the lower skill bracket of the drivers. And so when you don't know as much about how to maintain the tire life, when you're not focused on that as much as maybe just making the corners and getting a good result, often that can fall by the wayside somewhat. I mean, we just seen Mark Hasseldean has also pitted. So maybe the idea here is that get the softs done early, jump onto the medium tires, and we know that the degradation is not going to be nearly as severe on the mediums, and then you're essentially still running your 2-stop strategy. You're just going soft, medium. You might even be doing soft, medium, soft, to be honest, but most of the drivers out here have only made it 11 or 12 minutes on the soft tire. I think one of the only ones out there still running is the man on screen right now, Brian Emmett, who's still got probably a lap or 2 of half-decent soft pace. So he's already creeping up into the 48s at the moment, best lap 47.4. So he's 1.1 seconds off of his best pace with these tires and these conditions. And look who's right there. There's the medium runner. So that makes me think that for Group B, the soft is not viable for these stints.
Yeah, exactly, George. In these lower categories, the ability to be fast on worn tyres is a bit of a dark art, and only the top level drivers know how to do that. And for some of these guys, I think they might all be preferring the mediums just because of the way the softs drop off, and the ability to look after tyres and stay quick at the start of that stint while they're still fresh is also crucial. And that's a learned skill that the top level guys do tend to be better at. So this race is just throwing some real curveballs at us so far, but it might be that these guys in their practice have all preferred the medium tyre just because of its longevity and the ability. It's a little bit more robust. You can throw the car around, you can abuse that medium tyre a lot more than you can the soft, and it'll hang on for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I mean, one of the natures of Watkins Glen as a circuit as well is it sort of tends itself to that really, well, the timing of your turn-in and how you're managing the turn-in with the undulation of the track is really, really key here. It's not so prevalent at places like, I guess Spa is probably an example. There's probably many examples, to be honest, but certainly with what I've found, at least in my driving at Watkins Glen, when there's a very specific point of turn-in, and the car will generally loop itself round. But if you're not finding those markers, you're having to put a lot of steering input to actually just stay on the track.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few tracks in this game that are all well known as tyre killers, your Catalunias and your Autopolises. And Watkins Glen is yet another one. It really does benefit the people that can whisper to their tyres. And yours truly does enjoy racing here because I have had some success with doing that. So, yeah, who knows if it's just the way the tracks, the tyre wear model is for each track in GT7 might be slightly different, but but you're right. It's one of those technical tracks that requires, very precise inputs, particularly in that last turn, George, isn't it? That last turn and turn 1, the bus stop, obviously. In order to stay quick, you've really got to risk the biscuit and send it, but be so precise with the inputs around here.
Yeah, exactly right. And even what we saw with Gopi and Guy, the level of cutting of the corners, the precision required. I mean, we know that it cost essentially Gopi Mahindra the win with the 1.5 seconds worth of penalties. That had he been 1 or 2 pixels on the other side of a curb, wouldn't have been a problem at all. He would not have had those penalties, and that's the level of precision you need at a track like this. And once you get to that level of precision, you're able to then manage how you enter the corners a lot more. That's going to save a lot of tire life. It's going to allow you to be quick when you need to be quick, and it just opens up that range of options that you have in your toolkit.
Yeah, exactly. It all tends to fall apart around here. If you start picking up a couple of penalties, you lose your rhythm. You start leaning on those tyres a bit more. The tyres heat up, they wear more, and it tends to be a vicious cycle, a negative feedback loop, and you end up just getting slower and slower. And so, yeah, as we look here at Hasel1, who has made his pit stop, he's got obviously quite a few cars ahead of him that haven't stopped yet. So it'll be interesting to see as we enter this middle portion of the race. The strategies will all be mixed up. Who's going to get some clear air? Who's going to have a good stint on their mediums and come out on top after the next pit stop? So, yeah, it's a little bit hard to see who's the net leader at the moment, George, isn't it? But we can see some... we've got lap 10 here is the crucial lap. Hasel1 now making a move on Hogues. And it looks to have that job done, does he? Yes. Dives into turn 1. Can he keep it clean? He's got a compromise line in, but nice conservative line coming out there. I'd say Hogues is on worn tyres, and we've just seen the difference there between fresh tyres and worn tyres. Oh, Hogues unfortunately got some damage too. So he was a bit of a sitting duck there, wasn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. Unfortunately, that RCZ, the old Peugeot, has been a sitting duck on more than one occasion, sadly, this season so far. But in the hands of capable drivers and drivers who are this deep into the season, they are starting to get very familiar with it. It's not the most intuitive car to drive, from my experience at the very least, and on patches long gone now in the GT7 area. So I probably shouldn't comment too much on how it handles these days. But we have discussed that as well in races previous. The RCZ is good in a lot of ways, but yeah. So it looks like I'm agreeing. Like, it's a little hard to see who's going to be on top at the moment, but Hasel1 is definitely in the overall lead. There's calculated risk. So the early pit stop has not worked out at all. He was right next to the bumper of Mark Hasel1. He's come into the pits. He hasn't had any cars ahead of him, from what I can tell, but he has been having a much slower pit stop. It is entirely possible, Andrew, you're spot on, that he had damage as well to the car. That would explain the gap in pit stop, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think their fuel strategy looks approximately the same. It's just the calculated risk came in a lot earlier.
Yeah, so whether he has to do an extra stop in this race is yet to be determined. And yeah, just really a perplexing one there, because he's lost out to Hasel1 here, most definitely. They might have similar fuel levels, but we've got some pit stoppers here on lap 12 off the medium. So these are the guys that I think are now going to run 2 soft stints to finish the race. And they could make that work. And this will be a good contest with these guys all on similar pit windows. And they'll have a good battle now to the end of this race. But that question of who's leading the Pro-Am category, the outright win or the outright podium positions in this race, really up in the air at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we could see a really good late charge from calculated risk. We know he's got the pace. He might be thinking soft stint right at the end to finish off the race, in which case he'll be absolutely flying. And we'll assume at this point that Hasel1 will have to do another pit stop in this race as well. He's on the medium tires, but you know he'll go towards the end of the race. I get the feeling they're doing soft, medium, soft, which is essentially just an inverted order of what we saw with the medium, soft, soft from the guys in Group A. So Booster Blake comes back out. He's on a full tank of fuel and medium tires. Behind him, Joe Rudinsky on the softs with a limited amount of fuel in there. So clearly wanting to do some much quicker laps out there at the moment. Robinson has picked up a massive penalty of 1.5 seconds. Still running the racing soft tires, but did he pit? Has he pit He pitted on lap 5. That's right. He was our first pit stopper. So he's technically, I thought for a second he's gone 22 minutes on the soft tire with that amount of tire left. I was like, well, that's really impressive. But no, he's had about 6 laps out there so far. So that's about in line with what we've seen. Chip Berry and Mitch Collin come into the pits from their racing medium tire. We'll see what strategy they decide to choose. Jeff Bruin has also chosen the medium. So, I mean, it's a real mix out there. We're playing the variety at the moment.
We sure are, and these guys that are pitting now are going to have maybe a little bit of a leg up on the cars that we saw pit a lap or 2 ago, because they're going to have fresher tyres to the end of the race. So really up in the air to see who's going to come out on top here right now. But I can see Hasel1 doing well. He's looking good for possibly a win here today, as we see some cars exiting the pits, falling back and resuming the battle with the cars around them, just like they were a few laps ago. So this is on now. We've got a medium runner, a soft runner in expat here, wanting to clear some traffic. Can he do it? Has he got the confidence? Shoves it in there. On fresh softs, he says, see you later, Supra. Boosted Blake there being not nudged out of the way. I think that was a clean move, but he just had the confidence there on soft tyres that were already up to temperature. He was just able to break that bit later, and he made a nice, committed, assertive move there into the bus stop. Well done.
Yep, absolutely. It's what we're expecting to see of our Pro-Am leader. Having a little bit of a connection issue to this lobby by the looks of it at the moment, but I don't think that played a part. So there might have just been a graphical glitch. If there was any contact, it probably wasn't significant. That is for sure. So Chip Berry running behind these guys. Now in P7 overall, the recently pitted Mitch Collin comes out in 8th with Jack Finch right behind him. So Jack Finch on the medium tyre and has pitted early on as well. So again, I think a soft runner at the beginning, switched on to the medium tyre for the second part of the stint. Richard Robinson still running out there, the brave soul that he is, on those very, very worn racing softs. If he doesn't come to the pits this lap, I'll be very surprised. Jeff Bruin just behind him in P11 will pick up that top 10 spot in a few moments' time once Richard Robinson has come into the pits. Ben Blaker on the medium tyre now, plan B for Hasel1 Motorsport. And there you go, you can see him. He's got his emergency lights on. That's a very awkward entry into the final corner. So he's not looking particularly comfortable out there right now in the BMW. In the meantime, Ruzzy's going to come on through in a few moments' time. He's looking quick. In the 49s at the moment, so not showing probably his ultimate pace, but there we go. Robinson in the pits. Blue Dog behind them in 14th, and then Hogues, who's pitted just recently onto the racing soft tyres again. So current leader, Ando, is Aussie GTR, but he's been on the medium since the beginning of this race. He's the only one to have done that. Is this a one-stop, or is this... He looks like he's saving fuel. He hasn't... Oh, he has come into the pits. We've got a P sign next to the P... lap 11. Yeah.
Yeah, not sure, but those mediums, he's doing really well on them if he still hasn't pitted. But he's still got a dilemma, George, because he has to run the softs, and we're only just at the halfway mark of the race now. So he can't really jump onto the softs yet and expect to go to the end of the race. So... But he's got some fuel, he's got a bit of tyre life left, so this might be the guy that's trying the one-stop, and he's looking pretty good at this stage. He's only got one more stop to do, as does Hasel1 behind him, but he's got the lead. But his lap times aren't super impressive, so Hasel1 will be mowing him down over the next lap or two. But then Aussie GTR's got the problem that the softs are mandatory. He's going to have to jump on them in this pit stop and then make them last somehow to the end of the race. So not sure if that's going to work for the Ferrari or not, because if he's got 2 more stops to do in this race, then he's way out of position, isn't he? He's not really in the hunt for the podium today.
Yeah, correct. I mean, if you're going to run the mediums, you run them to, 20 minutes, and then you do 2 15-minute stints on your soft tyres, or even run it to 18 minutes, or 17 minutes or so. And that way you're sort of, you're not having to do a 16, 17-minute stint at the end of this race. And by all means, he'll probably have to come in. Well, if he can get it to Yeah, even if he can get it, stick it out there for another 6 or 7 minutes, he's still got a 17 or 18 minute stint on the softs to do, and that we know that that's too much. The Group A guys, no one decided to try do that long on the soft tires. So yeah, has to be 2 more stints for him, but maybe he's just looking to split that up into 2 10-minute stints. If he can get to the 30-minute mark, which is coming up in only 3 minutes time, he can jump onto the soft tires for 10 minutes apiece and get himself to the end. So that may be the strategy. As you said, one stopper looking unlikely for Aussie GDR. Hasel1 though looking solid at the moment, and this medium stint is going to run him probably till about, well, probably another, what do you reckon, about another 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, possibly. So he'll have a short stint on softs to finish off the race. But look at that consistency, George. Look at all those 47s, even a 46.9 there on lap 9. But that's what you need to have a good result around here, or any race for that matter, is just putting in consistent laps. We saw some of those back markers there with the odd 51, or lots of not much consistency in their lap times. They were having trouble with track limits and little squirrely moments, and that's what loses your time around here, as is the case at any track really. But we see there Hasel1 now, he's just got his head down, he's doing his work, he's getting those consistent 47s out of the mediums, which is probably going to be good enough for the win today. So he's looking really, really good. I'm really impressed by the way he's been driving lately, George.
Honestly, it's been amazing over the last few years to watch Mark Hasel1 improve and improve and improve. He's one of those genuine learners. He's built the team around him. He's listened to people. He's improved his own driving, and it's really the fruits of his endeavors. He's reaping what he's sowing. Has been sowing at the moment, and this has been a fantastic performance from him. I mean, his main competitor is Joe Rudinsky. They are P1, P2 currently in the Pro-Am Championship, and if Joe is going to have these sort of scattering of good results, but Hasel1 is consistently getting the P2s and the P1s, well, that's what you need to win a Drivers' Championship as well.
Yeah, it's set up for a really good result. The season's got a couple of rounds left, and it's not set in stone by any means. So these guys are going to battle it out to the end of the series to see who is the champion. And we see now Expat there up in 4th.
Oh.
As predicted, he's coming back. Calculated risk there. Hopefully that was a glitch. But he's copped damage, George.
Oh,
I think he's had an actual accident there. We just happened to catch it. He's just run wide there in that slippery exit, and in he comes to the pits now. Good news is he can jump on softs and maybe get to the end. He's going to have to do 11 laps on softs, and let's assume this is probably going to be a 27-lap race. So not good for calculated risk there. He's in a bit of a quandary, not quite in the window to jump onto softs, but he had no choice. He had front splitter and front suspension damage there, which was luckily, relatively close to the pit entry, so he didn't lose massive time limping around. But yeah, that's probably compromised his hopes today.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, luckily for him, he's already got his soft stint out of the way, so this is probably a relatively minor hiccup in his strategy. He just has to pit early, put more fuel in the car, get onto the fresh racing mediums, and then go to the end and see where he kind of filters out onto the track. But it may end up that Brian Emmett is going to be ahead of him in this race, and that'll be great for him, picking up a whole bunch of extra points as an AM-class driver ahead of the majority of the Pro-Am field today. Brian has been very impressive with his driving. Reasonably consistent laps, not nearly as consistent as Mark Hasel1, and of course he's being chased down now by one of our former season Pro-Am leaders, Boosted Blake. So that's going to be an interesting challenge for Brian to encounter now. Very fast Supra in the hands of a very fast driver, chasing him down on fresher racing medium tires. So it's not going to be a massive competition, but you can see that Joe Rudinsky has actually ended up ahead of his teammate, but he's on those racing soft tires. So he's out of position at the moment, is Expat. When he pits, he'll drop down probably 7 or 8 positions. Let's have a little look and try and find where our calculator risk has filtered out. P12 as we see Aussie GTR finally into the pits. So we'll catch an eye on what his plan is. But yeah, lots of fuel, racing medium tires. That's all you can do at this point. Run 20 minutes to the end.
Yeah, but I think he'd already pitted and he was already set to go to the end on his mediums. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember, but that could have been a totally unscheduled pit stop that he needed to do there, which is really going to ruin your race because it's not a short pit stop here. It's I think of the order of 22 seconds. So Uh, if he was already set to go to the end of the race on fresh mediums and he had to pit again, that's just terrible, unfortunate set of circumstances. So we'll have to wait and see. But Hasel1 now assumes the lead of the race with Expat and Dudar behind him. So it's starting to condense out into the natural leaders of the race. But I believe Hasel1 definitely has to stop again, I think. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what tyre the Ferrari just jumped onto then, because he still has 10 laps to go. So is he going to take the punt back himself for 10 laps on softs? Who knows?
Well, that's the question. Yeah, Aussie GTR did come in. He's jumped onto the racing soft tyre. So as expected, I think he's going to be doing a 10-10 or an 8-8 at this stage, I suppose, on the racing soft. So we'll keep an eye on him. We've got a great battle brewing here between our brand new Mad Turtle driver, Brian Emmett, and of course our seasoned professional in Boosted Blake in the Pro-Am category. So he does get to be called a professional despite being Pro-Am. It has still got pro in the word, so he can definitely claim that. As predicted by yourself, Ando, a pit stop there for Mark Hasel1, and he'll put a bunch of fuel in, and that'll be mediums to the end, surely, because it's still 18 minutes to go in this race.
Yeah, 9 laps. In practice, that's what we were sort of aiming at. So not sure what he'll switch on to. Let's see. But Aussie GTR there in the Ferrari, was it? He did jump onto soft, so he might be taking a punt. And if he can do 10 laps on them, he could get a really good result here. But the safe bet, if you don't have to put softs on like GTR had to, safe bet is the mediums. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. At this point, you want to make it to the end. You don't want to be doing an extra stop. And you certainly don't want to be driving a last lap on near zero fuel or near zero tires. That's a very ambitious line taken by Boosted Blake to get around Brian Emmett. Very ambitious, but he hasn't picked up a penalty as a result of it. So a very well executed maneuver, extremely brave into that first part of the bus stop chicane, and nothing that Dudar can do about that. But really not his race at the moment, I don't think. I think Dudar is just working to his number. He'll potentially be thinking about another soft stop at the end of this one. So the soft, medium, soft seems to have been prevalent in amongst the leaders. Let's have a little look at Hasel1. Oh no, Hasel1 with a 3-second time penalty. He's come back out onto the racing medium tires for the end of the race, but he's made a mistake at the pit lane entry or exit.
Yeah, either or, I'd say, is what he's done. And that's a really, really, really hard, tough penalty to have to serve. But he's chosen mediums, and he's fueled up to go to the end. He's still looking okay, as we see Aussie GTR on the softs. He's fueled up to the end as well. Well and truly. It looks like he filled up his tank, which he might not have really needed to do. But he's going to have trouble in that Ferrari getting them to the end, I think, getting his softs to the end. But let's see if he can do it. And we saw there Dudar, I think he's got fuel problems. He was fuel saving and he's on a lower fuel number. He definitely has to stop again, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. At least for him, it'll most likely be a soft stop. Well, it'll be a hard stop, but for soft tires. So they're theoretically a soft stop. I don't imagine he'll go into the mediums. So we've got Hasel1 doing to the end of the race on the on the medium tire, instead of going for that sort of a shorter and faster soft stint. But I guess that just, that's the strategy they want to execute today. Soft, medium, for who we are assuming at this point is going to be our race winner. But with a very fast, potentially fast Dudar at the end, he may be coming back at our race leader, potentially. He may be able to stay ahead of calculated risk as well. And we don't know exactly how calculated risk is going to feed out with all this as well. But the damage obviously is going to be, it's going to have cost him in the pit stop. We think he's had issues with his pit stops, unplanned or otherwise. So our former race leader and pole position qualifier has fallen quite significantly in this race so far. Expat has come back out on half a tank of fuel and the racing soft tire. Probably trying to go to the end on this one, I suspect.
Yeah, looks like it. But we've got Hasel1 there in P6, and he is the first of the runners that definitely doesn't have to stop again. So the only people that can challenge him are possibly any of the top 5 at the moment there that do have somewhat of a gap to Hasel1, and they're going to pit once more onto soft tyres for a short stint, and might be when they come out in a close battle with Hasel1. But he could be out on his own as well, George. We'll just have to wait and see exactly how big these gaps are back to Hasel1, how far from the lead he is. Unfortunately, we don't get to see that gap to the leader, which would be very useful information to know. If we jump on board with Hasel1, we just don't. In the race, the driver themselves gets to see the gap, but we don't, unfortunately.
No, that's right. We can sort of estimate it, guesstimate.
Yeah. We've got the likes of Dudar and Boosted Blake. Let's have a look where Boosted Blake is. He's obviously coming up.
That's the shoot.
Yeah. And so where's Hasel1 right now?
Let's put Hasel1
we go
on the
back
screen.
To him.
He's only just coming through the bus stop.
Bus stop. So, that's if you ask me, that's not quite enough of a gap. If Boosted Blake pitted now and took on some fuel, he'd come out and fall in behind Hasel1. So I'd say George Hasel1's got this one in the bag, or he's the net leader at least of the race right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So we'll see. I mean, Boosted Blake is doing very, very well. He's managed to overtake his competition. He still has to do that pit stop, but he's put a good distance on Dudar. Not a massive distance, but certainly some distance. We'll see when he comes into the pits. He's pretty close to being filled up to the end, so it'll be a splash and dash really, but he'll need new tires by the end of this race. Or is he actually planning to go to the end?
Yeah,
on this.
I mean, that front left is a bit over half worn, but with only maybe 6 laps left to go, has he got the fuel and the tire to do it? I don't know. If I was him, I'd be thinking about it, because he's got a really healthy lead over Hasel1 right now. But the question remains, can that front left hold out for 6 more laps? It would be close, wouldn't it?
It would be. The question in my head is, how slow does he need to be running on track to get himself to the end? Are we going to be seeing 1 minute 50s, 49s from him to save enough fuel to get to the end? Whereas you got Hasel1 who's consistently in the low 47s. I mean, really consistently in the low 47s. So you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 seconds a lap difference. If there's about 8 laps or so left in this race, that would be shooting distance to get ahead of Boosted Blake, but it might be enough for Boosted Blake to clinch this one over the 2 stoppers, which would be absolutely fascinating, because we did not see that at all in Group A.
No, but Boosted Blake's he's definitely got a lead of at least 15 seconds or so he can afford to lose 2 seconds a lap to Hasel1. And still win this race. So if he's got someone in his pit garage or someone on his pit wall in his ear saying, look, just take it easy, mate, take it easy, just save that fuel, save that front left tyre, get yourself to the end. But it looks like that front left wear has started to accelerate, hasn't it? Because it's well over halfway worn now, and still at the end of this lap he'll have at least 5 to go. So in he comes. That front left tyre was starting to just run away on him, I think. And he's had to jump in. He'll dive onto fresh softs now, and he'll come out maybe within 10 seconds of Hasel1. If he's within 10 seconds, he's going to back himself, isn't he? To really push hard on softs and challenge for the win, because all he needs is one little mistake from Hasel1. And these penalties we've already seen are quite hurtful to your lap time. So if you're serving a penalty up that hill out of the boot section, he's going to be gifting time back to the cars behind him. And we see Boosted Blake come out now. Is that Hasel1 just in front of him?
That's Hasel1 just in front of him, and Boosted Blake's on the soft tyre.
Yeah, it's on here.
Absolutely on. So a fascinating switch up. I mean, Boosted Blake has performed this really, really nicely. He's put himself in the box seat. 9 minutes on a racing soft tyre, totally doable, and you'll still have some decent pace. So now the question is going to be, can Hasel1, I mean, look at that last lap though, 46.5. He's not the fastest man on track, but Boosted Blake's best lap is a 47. and that was on the medium tire. So the question is, how fast and how consistent can Boosted Blake be in this race? And if he's consistent enough, he will catch up. I mean, he'll almost inevitably catch up at this stage to Hasel1, but Hasel1 will have to get the foot down. That 46 is an indication that he's realizing the situation he may be in at this point in the race. And yeah, look, it's not a big gap at all. Behind them, Aussie GTR is trying to make it to the end. He's actually looked after his tires quite well so far. He's running in the high 48s, a couple of 47s in there with the fastest 47.0. So not sure if he's necessarily executing a tire saving strategy at the moment, because that 47 definitely throws that calculation out the window. But he's ahead of calculated risk, and if he doesn't pit stop again, he's got plenty of fuel on board, then he'll be in a situation to maybe pick up P3 at this race.
Yeah, and did you see the different fuel states of those three cars? We had someone with well under half, someone with about half a tank, and someone with well over half a tank here. So I think someone's taken way too much fuel, someone's maybe not taken enough, and someone might have taken just enough. The Goldilocks is who knows? But that was incredible. Like, so Boosted Blake is really low on fuel compared to Hasel1. So he might be catching him right now and mowing him down, but has he got the fuel number right? You know, has Hasel1 taken too much, or is Boosted Blake in trouble here?
It's possible. Fuel? I mean, we saw Guy Barbara cross the line at 0, and he was definitely fuel saving in that last lap. Like, there was a lot of lift and coast, there was a lot of clear indicate. If it wasn't for the penalty that Gopi picked up, he would have lost that position of P1 based on his fuel amount. So he calculated it only just right, probably just slight miscalculation from him, and that was a Supra as well. So these Supras may be quite fuel hungry, we don't know, but if he's at 25% now, we've got 6.5 minutes left in this race. It should be enough, quote unquote.
Well, if it is, then Hasel1's definitely taken far too much, and Aussie GTR's taken way too much fuel.
Way too much.
At 3 litres a second. Yeah. You know, the refuel rate here is not terribly slow, but it is significant. So you don't want to be taking more fuel than you actually need to get to the end of the race, because that's just costing you time in the pits that you don't need to spend. So Hasel1 here, he's got Legendary Berry ahead of him still, who does pull into the pits now. So Hasel1's going to inherit the lead of this race, and he's got a flying Supra behind him that doesn't quite have, you know, that comfortable amount of fuel. I think he's going to have to watch his fuel, this Supra. Boosted Blake, you know, his softs, they're looking absolutely fine, aren't they? He's just done a 46.2, a PB. If he doesn't have to worry about his fuel, he should be able to make a move here and claim this victory today.
I think so, yeah. So Chip Berry comes out on the racing soft tyres. He'll have calculated risk just going past him, his teammate at Black Rose Racing. Behind them, it's Dudar. So he is on the racing soft. So this is another battle, and this is going to be for the AM class win right here. So we've got 2 battles for the lead of the categories happening right now. Super fresh tires for Legendary Berry, low fuel amount on board, and looks like, Dudar is another one who has taken way too much fuel on board. He would have been miles ahead of Chip Berry had he taken the right amount of fuel. I mean, we are 5 minutes away from the end of the race. You do not need to be on 45 litres of fuel right now.
No, I think you tend to see this in Group B. The drivers don't really have those numbers in their head as they pull in for the final pit stop. So they just err on the side of caution, and they say to sort of fill her up to the Bowser guy in the pits. They just say, fill her up, mate. Well, that'll get me to the end, rather than just have a little think about it and work out, you know, exactly how many laps are going to be left in the race. Because as you're refueling there, it's just telling you how many laps you're going to refuel to. But this is an endurance race, so you don't have the diamond to fill up to, which a lot of guys are used to. You know, that will tell you exactly how much fuel you need to the end of the race. But in an endurance race like this, which is timed, you don't get that diamond. So, well, actually, the diamond's right at the end. So it's somewhat misleading. It's telling you to take 100 litres when you really don't need to. So, as we're seeing some little, what let's call it, amateur mistakes here by the Group B drivers, those that have taken on too much fuel. As we see, it's so close still. Look at this. We've still got battle groups happening here. So those seconds,
That's
dive
a
there
huge
into turn
lunge.
one.
Oh,
Wow, he's going to have to give that back, is he? He's going to have to redress it. That was a little bit from a different postcode, that one, wasn't it? Dudar, if he doesn't give it back, that might end up in a report, I think. Because it was definitely a bit of a push to pass, wasn't it, George?
oh, it certainly was. I mean, he had no overlap into the braking zone at all. Absolutely sent it, made contact on the apex. And there's a flash of the lights. Yeah, legendary Berry, not happy. And he's picked up a 0.5-second penalty because he's trying to put himself in a position to make the overtake again. Mitch Collin wants a piece of the action now. It's going all wrong for Chip Berry. It's definitely going to be a steward's report, that one, for sure. Dudar just miscalculating, unfortunately, where he should have probably not taken a dive and just been patient. He had the pace, and he would have had a great slipstream effect as well on the straights. There's plenty of opportunities outside of a turn one dive, but either way, what's done is done now, and Chip Berry finds himself no longer in the lead of AM class. That is now with Dudar. So yeah, again, that will probably go for a bit of a review. Let's check in with our leaders. Oh, here we go. Booster Blake is right on the back of Mark Hasel1. We have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, so there will be 2 more laps in this race. We will get a 28th lap, Ando. That is great news for Booster Blake and his chances of a race win today, but fuel amount, looking a little scary. But
yeah, I don't know if he's got 2 laps of fuel left in him, but he's definitely in position now as he pulls out before the bus stop. He's got a long straight here. He's going to inherit the lead here. There you go. He's just cruised past him there, got a much better exit, but he's now got a red flashing light on his fuel gauge. Oh my God, George, is he going to make it to the end? But a little weather update for you. We've just had some little bit of a spattering of red mist descending over turns 1 and the bus stop here at Watkins Glen. As we see, the racing has definitely heated up, hasn't it? We're at the pointy end of this race now, and there's a little bit of red mist in the blinkers there of calculated risk, I think, as he got shoved out of the way there into turn 1. And we've got poor old Mark Hasel1 with a penalty. That's the last thing he needed, George. He's well in the slip now. Now he's going to lose the best part of a second. He's going to fall out of the slip up the hill here now. And Boosted Blake just needs to worry about his fuel state. This one's not over yet.
it's not over yet. The red mist has definitely descended. In some cases, it will dry out quickly, but still a very slippery surface to be on at the moment in a race situation like this. But both category leads in contention right now. There's still a chance for legendary Berry, but he's got Mitch Collin ahead of him now. So a car in between him and the man he's chasing down. In fact, Mitch Collin, yeah, Pro-Am category. As you can see there, he's actually trying to make an overtake on Brian Emmett. So if something happens there, well, we will be in a situation essentially where Mitch Collin may be providing some summary justice. Not the way that we hand out justice here at MotorMotion. It's all about the steward's office. It's all about the post-race review. That's the important thing. But Dudar putting a lot of pressure now on calculated risks. So this is getting very spicy in this part of the race. Hasel1 has still not made his way back up. But let's have a little look at the fuel amount. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be... I don't think he's going to make it. Look at the fuel amount. But it might just be enough. It's the final lap now, lap 28. We're not sure what's going to happen. If Boosted Blake gets to the line and is still ahead, then this has yet again, Ando, come down to penalties for the race win.
Yeah, unfortunately. But, you know, as we see Boosted Blake now, he's on worn tyres, he's on very low fuel. That's how you should be finishing every race you do. But we saw that battle pack a bit further down. We had cars with heaps of fuel and plenty of tyre left. Like, that's not a good strategy.
Whoa.
You know, they could have been in a totally different position on track if they had have got their strategy a bit better. We see a penalty there to Dudar through the bus stop. He bit of contact, bit of paint swapping, and it's not over yet. They continue to battle down to the boot section. Oh, there's a 2-for-1.
Wow.
Was that
was Dudar getting
he came back at them.
He came back at them. He swung to the inside line. Looks like Chip Berry ran into Mitch Collin, forced them both wide. Dudar's just got up the inside and said, "Thank you very much." Well, let's return
we'll have to watch the end of this. Yeah, let's have a look here.
We'll have a look. There's so much going on. Boosted Blake is on almost no fuel, but this is going to be perfection for him. He's got enough pace to hold through the final corner. Even if he ran out of fuel now, he'd probably be pretty close to being safe. And that's going to be it. Boosted Blake, what an absolute run that was. and picks up the Pro-Am win, the overall win. Hasel1 second. Calculated Risk has run away from Mitch Collin. Mitch Collin's going to be picking up fourth. Third for Calculated Risk, qualified on pole. But Dudar will be probably going to the steward's office, picked up a penalty, but unfortunately Legendary Berry not able to take advantage of it, and he's completely out of fuel as well. So P1 to Dudar provisionally, Legendary Berry P2, Aussie GTR has had an absolute shocker. Look at the state of his tires and how much fuel he's got on board. 40 litres. No, he's actually got a hot tire. He's in so much trouble. And actually, Jeff Bruin has finished the race. Okay, the rest of the field has finished the race. So Legendary Berry, Aussie GDR is not going to lose a position from this. Somehow picks up a P7.
Yeah. Wow. I thought 10 laps on softs was a bit too much for a Ferrari, and we see that rear left there completely dead. I think he was in third position there with a lap or two to go, George. So he's absolutely just failed on his strategy there to try and pull off 10 laps on softs. Just too much for a Ferrari, I think.
Yeah, absolutely right. And this is the thing. The tyre killer track, the soft tyre mandatory. When you see a mandatory tyre as a soft tyre, you're generally going to assume that it's going to be wearing pretty quickly. You've got to manage it correctly. Some drivers got it right today, some didn't. Let's take a look at our Pro-Am results. What a drive from Blake Williamson. Fantastic stuff from him. And I'll double check where he started out in this race, because I think he was well down the field. But executed the strategy beautifully. Picks up the race win ahead of Mark Hasel1, who, let's be honest, did a Gopi Mahindra today and lost the race based on penalties accumulated rather than overall pace. I think he had it. He had the strategy execution absolutely nailed down. Incredibly consistent laps. But key thing for Mark Hasel1 today is he finished a mile and a half ahead of Joe Rudinsky, who finished in 7th place. So that's a good points advantage to him for round 7. Marcel Alberton picks up P3 with 26 points. And it's Mitchell Collin, Hayden Jones, Jeff Bruin, Joe Rudinsky, and lastly, it is Richard Robinson. Let's take a look at our AM class results. Brian Everett is the name. I've been calling him Brian Emmett the entire race. My apologies to Brian Everett. Brian Everett, I think there's a few people who will send me a message after this and fairly and rightly so will laugh at me for some time. Brian Everett has picked up P1, but again, provisional stewards, provisional based on the steward's response. Assuming that goes to the steward's room, we may be able to get some insight into that in a few moments' time. But Mad Turtle Racing, 39 points for finishing well ahead of many of the Pro-Am drivers today. So a good result for him. Chip Berry, also a good result from him. What could have been? He'll be frustrated that it's a P2 for himself today. Could have been a P1 very, very easily, but small mistakes in that last part of the race. There was some red mist descending. It was a very stressful, very high-pressure situation, but P2 still very good. Wade Rushton picks up P3 for CP Motorsports. So very, very good result for him at the end of the day. Wade Rushton, great to see that name return to the MotorMotion industrial complex, I was about to say, but the MotorMotion grid. Mark Hogan picks up P4, Graham Splint P5, Ben Blaker picks up P7, Jack Finch, formerly race a championship leader in AM class, finishing essentially last in the category today, with Troy Britnell not able to get out there on track this time out. So Ando, let's go to you. Let's have some summary of the race results today. And yeah, what did you think of the race, and what are you thinking driver of the day?
Yeah, I think poor old Hasel1 there with his 3-second penalty he got in his last pit stop, you know, and plus another 1 or 2 here or there. Definitely it was his race to lose. Unfortunately, just those couple of small errors with the track limits is what cost him today. But he really had a good, consistent drive. But I can't deny Boosted Blake, because if he was able to beat Hasel1 there on strategy, and he executed a better strategy, obviously, to just hold on there with worn softs and next to no fuel at all. He got it just right, and he reaped the reward. So my drive of the day goes to Boosted Blake.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm going to echo that sentiment as well. He came out of the woodwork today, executed the strategy well. No massive mistakes out on track at all. Limited the penalties that he got on track. I don't even know if he got a single one, in fact. So great stuff. Well done to him. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to conclude Season 3, Round 7 coverage here at the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship. So, of course, some housekeeping items. Make sure you go and check out our primary sponsor, p1simgear.com.au, for all your sim racing needs. Go and check out MotorMotion E-Series on www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com for all the news, articles, standings, results from the current series. They're on Facebook as well for MotorMotion. Go and look us up, and on Discord. So jump into the Discord if you haven't already migrated over there. Definitely jump over there. Lots of good information. Much easier to find some information than on the Facebook page in some cases. Broadcasting, of course, today brought to you by TrackSpot TV. You can check us out on www.trackspot.tv for all your sim race broadcasting needs. If you want to join the team, you can also register to become a commentator or a broadcaster over there as well. Mine has been George Cook. I've been joined today by Andrew Scott. Andrew, last words. We're looking forward to round 8. It's going to be a good one, and you know, that's the last part, of course, of our American leg.
Yeah, Daytona Speedway coming up next. We'll have the likes of Hoon Corp really loving this round coming up, because they're in the Supra and it's pretty hard to beat around there from memory. And then we've got another tyre killer track, Autopolis, and the legendary Mount Panorama to finish off, which anything can happen there. Very open to strategy that race will be as well. So yeah, exciting 3 rounds to go. The championship tables for the teams titles in particular, I'm really interested to see where they stand, because I think it's going to be a ding-dong battle to the end of this series to see who comes out on top. So yeah, watch this space, viewers.
Certainly, yeah. That's right. Watch this space. Well, give you a very quick rundown of the standings after round 7. We have Jack Finch leading AM title by not a lot of points now. Chip Berry right on his heels, so 232 points to 223 points. Mark Hogan in P3 for Aster Racing with consistent results, but he's under pressure from Troy Britnell. In the Pro-Am title, it is Joe Rudinsky still leading, but only by 1 point from Mark Hasel1 after that race. So it is on for the Pro-Am title. Hasel1's right there. Marcel Albertin, 22 points behind those guys, but still in the running. He's got to defend, though, against Blake Williamson, who was leading Pro-Am at the beginning of the season, now finds himself on a charge back through the field, possibly to the podium at the very least, to the Pro-Am title. In Pro, Matt McCullum leading by some distance over Glenn Mead. Glenn Mead with a smattering of not great results throughout this latter part of the season, dropping a little bit. He was leading Pro title for a while, and then Matthew Joynson in P3 in a big battle with Nick Roberts to get into the podium spots. In the lead category, Gopin Mahindajit leading from Guy Barbara, who's only 3 points away from Nick Pfaff. So still the Gopi show happening in the elite title, but certainly a big battle, and Guy Barbara's got enough pace to make this a real championship battle by the end of the season. In the team title, Mad Turtle Racing still on top on 771 points, followed by Hoon Corp Esports on 737 points. These guys are the ones vying for the championship at the end of the season. Black Rose Racing on 654, followed closely by Gridline Racing on 643, also followed closely by 5th place Aster Racing on 635. Then it's Lightning Motorsport, Hasel1, and CP Motorsports at the bottom of the grid at the moment, but CP Motorsports seems to be on a bit of a charge. Hasel1 on a charge as well. Certainly a lot of time to go. So that is going to be our coverage today, ladies and gentlemen. Been an absolute pleasure bringing you the race today. We'll see you back here, same place, same time for round 8. We head to Daytona for what is set to be a great show under the lights. Until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you for the next race. Bye-bye.